How much did they really replace? Who am I talking about to open the show today on this Tolo Tuesday on the Fan Upstate? He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. The South Carolina Gamecocks. How much did they really replace on defense? Diesel, you and I this offseason have spent a lot of time talking about this South Carolina defense and what they lost in 2025. I thought it would be a good idea before the season starts to take a deep dive with our Tolos and find out exactly how much this Gamecock defense lost in terms of experience coming back in 2025. By the way, Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central is our weekly Tuesday guest. He'll join us later in the show today. We'll talk to Shane Beamer, the head football coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, tomorrow on the show at 3:45. But, Diesel, there's a lot of hype around South Carolina in 2025, and rightfully so. But I believe that everybody has a little bit of pause, a little bit of hesitation when it comes to what this defense can do on the football field.
Yeah, obviously, when you lose as many guys as they did to the draft last year, you had a really good defense coming out of the 2024 season. And, you know, there's a lot of big question marks there. How do you replace 4 guys or 5 guys that were drafted in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft last year? And is it possible for the guys you have on this roster to give you a complementary performance to those guys that you just lost? South Carolina's rankings are rising year over year. So on paper, it seems like the guys coming in maybe have just a little bit more skill than the guys that they're replacing. Obviously, development matters, and transfer portal guys coming in and out, that stuff matters. But, it's a tall task to replace what they lost. But that's not to say that the guys who are on the team this year can't be just as good, if not better.
Yeah, there's just so much to be said, Diesel, for veteran presence on a defense. You know, like those guys that you can kind of count on, the quarterback of the defense. And South Carolina had that last season. I'm not saying that I don't believe they can't be talented defensively in 2025, but I do worry kind of more about the veteran pieces being gone than I do about the talent being gone. I'm with you. Talent-wise, I think they'll be okay, especially as the season goes on. But you just look at last year's defense. I'd like to ask Shane about this tomorrow. They had so many guys that were just leaders on the field and that grew as the season went on after bad experiences like the LSU game. So I'm more interested from that aspect. But I have every single defensive projective starter for South Carolina listed out, Diesel. And let's take a look at what they did a season ago, what their production was, so we can all truly know how much experience this defense has. If you're a South Carolina Gamecock fan, hit us up at 844-326-3663. That's the Hub City Spartanburgers text line, whose game was delayed earlier today. Their pushback or their start time got pushed back, Diesel, so we'll have to check and see if the Burgers finally got going. They had an early first pitch today, like 1:35, and they were delayed, I believe, because of field conditions. JB on the YouTube stream says Tolo. How about that? And Shane Barrett on the stream. Look at that, Diesel. Toloing from T-Town. That would be Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You know, Shane Barrett, one of our Tolos that moved, last year? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that when Shane moved or so, give or take? Dewey on the stream says, I can't do it as good as he does. Yeah, yours is a lot better. Your is better than my
Just to give you a heads up there, first pitch has been moved to 3:45. This is something that Hub City Spartanburgers official Twitter page posted 12 minutes ago. First pitch, 3:45. Also, congratulations to Hub City Spartanburgers. This is not brand new news, but I don't think we brought it up on the show.
Yeah.
The navy blue Hub City Spartanburgers cap, the one that's got the burger with arms and legs right there on the forehead, won Clash of the Caps, the favorite overall champion for single A baseball caps.
Wow.
Way to go, Spartanburgers.
The navy blue one?
The navy blue one.
See, I like the white. I like the white.
I like the highlighter green one.
Yeah, that one pops, stands out. You can't be missed in that highlighted green. So we're looking at this 2025 defense, Tolos, for South Carolina. Let's start, Diesel, at defensive end, where Brian Thomas Jr. is expected to be the starter, be the guy at defensive end. Brian Thomas Jr., 2025 Gamecock Toughness Award on defense, fourth-year edge rusher. He's been in the system. He knows what South Carolina is all about. He played a little bit as a freshman, a little bit more as a sophomore. He's a South Carolina guy through and through. He's been there for all 4 years and has been a big player for these Gamecocks. Without the guys from last season, we all know what's graduated and what is now in the NFL from that Gamecock defense. But we're going to talk a lot about Dylan Stewart. But I'm just seeing Brian Thomas Jr. as somebody that maybe Diesel, we're not talking about this guy enough. He's been on the team. He's got that veteran experience, hopefully that veteran leadership that I talked about. This guy's no slouch defensive end. And while South Carolina did lose a lot, one of the names you might hear in college football this season, especially in our neck of the woods, is Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, he been in this program for a while as a senior this year, played in all 12 games last year. For some reason, only started one. I'm guessing maybe injury. He started in 6 games in 2023-24. So again, maybe he got pushed back into the rotation a little bit because of injury, but his numbers were still really good. 12 solo tackles, 11 assisted tackles, 6.5 TFLs, 4.5 sacks. If this dude can take just one little step up from there, if it's increasing those solo tackles from 12 to 16, 17, 18, something like that, it's going to be that kind of guy that you do not want to try to run off the edge in his direction. And you're not going to want to run in Dylan Stewart's direction either. So
it might be like think about it though, the two ends, you've got experience there. Two guys who have been in the system, been in the program, and we know Dylan Stewart's going to be talked about. But on the other side, Brian Thomas Jr., no slouch defensive end. I think you're going to look at that position by the midpoint in the season and say, wow, maybe South Carolina has the two best defensive end. I mean,
he's played in 34 games. So the dude has got a ton of experience.
Diesel Monkel Goodwine is expected to start at defensive tackle. Monkel Goodwine, obviously a name not as familiar as Dylan Stewart or Brian Thomas Jr., joined the program after 3 seasons in Tuscaloosa with the Tide, where he appeared in all 13 games as a reserve interior defensive tackle in his first season as in Columbia, credited with 15 tackles, including 10 solo stops and 1 tackle for loss. 2023 redshirt sophomore. He was a depth piece on the defensive front for Alabama, going all the way back to high school in Maryland. This guy was highly touted. Again, didn't get a ton of time as a freshman in Alabama and Tuscaloosa, where Shane Barrett's watching from. But we'll see. This is the position, defensive tackle, one of the few positions on this defense where you look and you think, okay, maybe there's some concern here. This guy, the experience factor, Diesel, for a guy like Monkel Goodwine, a redshirt senior, even though he's played college football for quite some time, he just doesn't have the amount of snaps that a lot of people do.
That's true, but you also have to consider where he's coming from, right? Where at Alabama, you generally don't get starts as freshmen and sophomores. You have to work your way up, and it is a junior and senior laden program. They're not a program that has to play underclassmen all that much. So, look back at the days, when Nick Saban was in his heyday. You'd have a quarterback come in and play 1 season, and boom, he's a first-round draft pick. You'd have wide receivers and running backs get 1 season under their belt, and boom, they're first-round draft picks. I mean, these guys are all very, very talented dudes, and they got to work their way up, and they got to be patient if they're playing, when they were playing under Nick Saban at Alabama.
Going to have a lot of conversation in the stream because the Tolos in the stream are already having a conversation about South Carolina in 2025. We'll get to that. Right beside them, Diesel, right beside him, Monkel Goodwine will have Gabriel Brownlow Dindy, redshirt junior, projected defensive tackle for South Carolina. He's 6'3", 315 out of Lakeland, Florida. So another name that South Carolina Gamecock fans might not be extremely familiar with, and Brownlow Dindy. It's a mouthful, but he came from A&M. Again, kind of like you said with Monkel Goodwine, an SEC program, redshirt sophomore, appeared in 2 contests, 1 tackle, not a ton of playing time, played 5 games in 2023 as a redshirt freshman, and I think he appeared in 1 game as a true freshman in 2022. So what that defensive line, the interior, the run stoppers, right? That's what you're looking at, the run stoppers on that defensive line for South Carolina. I don't look at it as a concern, but I do look at it as you've got 2 guys that are unproven,
underexperienced.
Yeah, underexperienced.
Yeah, and if I'm an offensive coordinator, that's exactly where I'm trying to attack. If I'm trying to run the ball, I'm running it between the ends. I'm running it right at these 2 defensive tackles. Now, maybe they maybe they step up. Maybe they have good lateral movement. Maybe they get good penetration and they're able to stop the ball carrier before he even reaches the line of scrimmage. But that's going to be a big question mark for this team.
All right, on the other side of the defensive line, a guy's name we all know, Dylan Stewart, right on that other edge, opposite of Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, what do you say about this guy? He's a sophomore. I mean, there's already more hype. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 accolades in a season. As a freshman, Diesel, this guy was just unbelievable. Unanimous freshman All-American, freshman All-SEC, finalist for the Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year award. He was fantastic in 2024 and a bright spot for that South Carolina defense that was veteran heavy. But boy, this young guy in Dylan Stewart emerged on the scene. He's anchoring the other side of that defensive line. So it goes Brian Thomas, projected starters. Brian Thomas Jr., Monkel Goodwine, Gabriel Brownlow-Dendy, and then Dylan Stewart on the other side. I think it might be a little bit of a work in progress, like you said, in the middle. But with what the 2 edge positions provide, we'll see. It might not take as long as we believe.
Yeah, it's gonna make delayed handoffs difficult. If you're trying to run delays, you're gonna give these 2 edge guys a lot of time to get into the backfield. That's gonna be really fascinating to see how this plays out. And I'm excited. I think the edge positions are gonna be really good. These 2 defensive tackles, Monkel Goodwine and Gabriel Brownlow-Dendy, they're gonna take a little bit of time, but I think by the time they get to SEC play, these guys are going to have enough snaps under their belt. I think they're going to be fine.
At the linebacker position, experience-wise, what does South Carolina have coming back? Projected starters, Fred Johnson and Sean Murphy. No, not the Atlanta Braves, Sean Murphy, not the Atlanta Braves. So you're all good there, all in the clear there. But at linebacker, Fred Johnson, J.R. Johnson is that right? J.R. Johnson, I believe Jordan Kay talked about him a little bit last week when Jordan Kay, the state newspaper, was on with us. But look, you're looking at a sophomore, right? Not a lot of experience. In 2024 as a freshman, he enrolled at South Carolina this past January. He appeared in 13 games, 6 tackles, quarterback hurry, a little bit of experience, not much. So another guy besides Sean Murphy, 6'3", 231, a redshirt junior with a little more experience that you kind of look at and think, okay, where does this piece fit in the defense? I just wonder, Diesel, how much rotation you'll see early on in the season from South Carolina, not only to try to save these guys for the tough SEC schedule that they do have, but to try to get some reps in for some of these guys who don't have as many snaps.
Does a guy like Sean Murphy give you pause out there playing in that position? Because, he's bounced around now to his 3rd different school, started at Alabama, 2 years there, 1 year at Florida State, where he had a pretty decent year last year, 13 total tackles last year, 1.5 TFLs in 4 games that he played in. Does it give you a little bit of pause that a guy like that has bounced around from place to place to place?
It's interesting with Sean Murphy. Here's what I would bank on if I'm a Gamecock fan. And again, we can ask Shane Beamer about this tomorrow. But when South Carolina Diesel got Sean Murphy, you mentioned this is the 3rd school now that he's been to. Here's the way I look at it. If this South Carolina football coaching staff saw something that they liked about Sean Murphy, the 6'3", 231 redshirt junior, where they could bring him to this defense and him I'm not calling for like a breakout season, but do something similar to what Rocket Sanders did offensively. What do I mean by that? So Rocket Sanders was also at previous schools, right? Rocket Sanders showed flashes at previous schools. Maybe with a guy like Sean Murphy, South Carolina's defensive staff saw enough of a flash on tape, right? Even though he hadn't played the most snaps in the SEC, maybe this staff saw enough on tape where they said, you know what, we get him in with the right coaching, the right situation, and all of a sudden, I know Sean Murphy at linebacker is not being talked about a lot right now, but maybe, just maybe in the right fit, this guy could have a breakout season. I think that's very possible that there's one or two guys on this defense, Diesel, whether it be Sean Murphy or, going back to a Monkel Goodwine, somebody that we're not expecting, not talking about a lot, that could really have a breakout season.
On the stream, JB says, I'm not high on this team like everyone else. Gamecocks never do well with the hype. They choke. They'll choke week 1. He says Virginia Tech beats South Carolina 21-20. This is JB. This is
JB. Have you been hacked?
Gamecock fan, by the way. He says, yep, I went there. South Carolina Gamecock fans. Are you going to kick this guy out of the fan club or what? T Swizzle says, them boys going to have trouble guarding the deepest wide receiver room in America. Talking about Clemson.
Going back, let's see. Let me scroll back on here. Walter says, good afternoon. Will the Gamecock offense be okay? We'll talk about that. Let's see. JB also says, this 2025 season for the Gamecocks seems eerily similar to the 2014 season when that team was hyped and ranked number 8 in the preseason poll and then proceeded to get boat raced 52-28 by A&M. Well, I got good news for you. They're not playing A&M to open the season or Johnny Manziel. They're playing Virginia Tech.
They're playing Kyron Jones and Drones and VT.
Let's see. Shane says, that's my question, T Swizzle. Who is Sellers throwing to, or is he going to have to go full Cam Newton on offense? I cannot believe that JB, the Gamecock fan, the resident Gamecock on the show, predicts Virginia Tech to beat his own team 21-20. That's just – JB, that's not going to happen. There's no way. There's no way. I'm telling you. Of course, there's a way, but I do not see a world in which Virginia Tech beats South Carolina in 2025. Also on the defense, you have DQ Smith, Peyton Williams in the secondary, Brandon Sissy and Judge Collier also back there at the cornerback position, and we all know how good Jalen Kilgore was a season ago for South Carolina at defensive back, now a junior, 2024 second team all SEC, 2024 third team all SEC, smart guy, really good piece. Here's my synopsis, Diesel. When you look at this defense for South Carolina, and I'll see how wrong I am when the season starts. Up front and in the back end, I think South Carolina is going to be fine. I think the linebacker position rather, is where I do have a little question. With just the newness, Fred Johnson, Sean Murphy, Jerron Willis, those guys, a little bit of newness there. I'm not worried about DQ Smith and Peyton Williams and Judge and Jalen. And then up front, you've got Brian Thomas and Dylan Stewart. While they lost a lot, there's still some really good pieces, especially up front and in the secondary.
So if you're an offensive coordinator, what's your very early game plan without having seen any film on some of these guys, just knowing what we have returning, and then obviously knowing that there's question marks all over this defensive position? I'm running it up the middle, and I'm throwing short intermediate passes to see if they can break it open.
Well, I think the biggest thing is if you look at a defense like this that has some new pieces, and look, in today's landscape of college football, every defense is going to have new pieces, but South Carolina did lose a lot of experience. I'm going to try in every which way possible to run the football on them. I just am. I'm going to test the defensive front, up front, those tackles, because I'm also going to test the linebackers in the same sense. And again, we'll talk to Shane Beamer tomorrow. We'll ask him about the strengths of this defense, where the defense is ahead of other parts of the defense in terms of the linebacker position. I think teams are going to try to run the football on South Carolina, especially with the quarterback position. Virginia Tech in that first game, don't you think that Virginia Tech, Diesel, right now in the meeting rooms, don't you think they're talking about game planning for South Carolina and having to try to figure out a way to have Kyron Drones a part of the running game? Because you don't win that game without him running the football against South Carolina in Atlanta. Like, he's going to have to run a good bit in my mind.
Yeah, they're gonna try, I think, probably try to bounce him to the outside, see if he can get these two really good defensive ends to crash in, and then that might give him a running lane to get out and get a couple yards down the field. That certainly would be something I go to a lot in that very first game. Again, hoping that there's just some confusion with a younger defense and some unproven pieces. When we come back, Cole, a way too early look at the 2026 NFL draft. Phil Steele's top 3 draftable players at a couple of big key positions, and some of the top players from both Clemson and South Carolina who maybe didn't hit the top 3 on his list, but are really highly rated in certain categories. And then we'll do a little prediction, Cole. Who do we think among these quarterbacks, the top 10 quarterbacks going into the season, if all of them went into the NFL draft next year, where would we see them landing, sort of a round by round early leans for these quarterbacks going into this season? That's coming your way next right here on The Fan Upstate. Well, the refrain from Tolo JB on the stream so far in the first 29 minutes of today's episode of Wire to Wire with Dees and Nicole Bryson has been, don't believe the hype. But these guys right here, Cole, I've got the handy-dandy list from Phil Steele of the top eligible draft players or top draft eligible players going into the 2025 season. I think all these guys are probably going to have pretty good years, barring any major injuries. The question just becomes, what becomes of them by the end of the season? Where could they go? It's a lot easier to kind of analyze this thing on a quarterback level. It's harder to guess where, the number 4 running back going into the season might end up by the time we get to NFL draft time. But I want to go through some of the guys, especially where it pertains to both Clemson and South Carolina. And when you look at this list, Cole, you can kind of get a better sense. I know we go position group by position group, but really where the stars are going to be on each one of these teams with both Clemson and South Carolina. So let's start with the position that gets all the hype and gets all the attention. Phil Steele's top draft-worthy players and draft-eligible players going into the season. We'll start at the quarterback position.
Not center? We're not going to start at the center position?
I mean, the center.
Center?
If the center sucks.
The centers?
If your center sucks, then you're going to have a pretty rough season
I'm kidding.
overall. Okay, let's start at the center position. You know what?
Kidding.
No, you said it. We're going to do it.
We don't care about centers on this show.
Top 35 centers, starting with Jake Slaughter. Best on the name team, by the way. He's at Florida. Connor Law at Auburn and Parker Brailsford at Alabama. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Clemson does have the number 10 center, though, by the way.
Not
bad. Draft eligible players, the number 10 center, which means, Cole, that guy has a good chance of getting drafted. Maybe, I don't know, where would the 10th best center in the draft go? 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, something like that?
Maybe later, just spending. You may hope. I think they get drafted, but 10th best center. I mean,
10th best center.
Yeah.
Well, who does the center give the ball to on almost every single play, barring something weird like a halfback snap? It's the quarterback position. I don't think any of these names are going to come to as a surprise to anyone, though. It is funny. The number 2 guy on Phil Steele's list hasn't even played a full season as a starter in college football, and he's already listed. You talk about hype of saying this guy could be the shoe-in for the Heisman Trophy at this point. They're also making him now the number 2 quarterback going into the draft in 2026. Number 1, Garrett Nussmeier, redshirt senior at LSU. Number 2, Arch Manning, the redshirt sophomore at Texas. How does that work? I mean, I guess he's 3 years removed from high school. So I guess, he is draft eligible. Cade Klubnik, number 3, the senior quarterback for Clemson. Also worth noting, Lenora Sellers, number 5 on Phil Steele's list, the redshirt sophomore from South Carolina. I think Lenoris is going to stick around a little bit longer. I don't know that Lenoris comes out this year unless he just has a monster season. And number 6, Cole, your favorite, Drew Aller, the senior from Penn State. That is Phil Steele's list of the best draft-eligible quarterbacks.
It's interesting with Lenoris at 5. I think when you look at this quarterback class, you can look at it one of 2 ways. And for the record, I do believe Lenoris will go out and go into the draft in 2026 Diesel. You can look at it 2 ways, though. You can look at it and say, you got to go while the getting's good, right? You've got to go while all the attention's on the quarterbacks. Or you could look at it from the standpoint of, hey, let all these guys go this year, and next year you'll be possibly the top pick. Obviously, some risk involved with that, right? But you could look at it 2 different ways. No surprise, though, on the top 3. I think Sam Leavitt could be interesting. What if Sam Leavitt has a really big year in a conference that allows him to have a big year, much like Cade Klubnik could as well? I could see Sam Leavitt being a little bit sneaky here, and maybe there's a team out there that views Sam Leavitt higher than a Cade Klubnik. Not saying that's going to happen, but sometimes these lists, man, these preseason lists, sometimes you see some wackiness by the end of the season.
Well, I do like that, we're seeing Jackson Dart get all this love so far through preseason. Again, just preseason. But it's funny is it's really not the super hyped guys who end up having great NFL careers. I feel like these, the pundits that talk about the draft and spend weeks and weeks and weeks building a player up and gassing players up, they can kind of convince NFL GMs that the star in college is going to be a star in the NFL. And, a lot of times just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
So, do you think, would you call this a strong quarterback class overall? Again, assuming that all these guys, the top 10 guys, go into the NFL draft this year. Garrett Nussmeier, Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, Sam Levitt, Lenore Sellers, Drew Aller, Carson Beck, Nico Iamaleava listed as the number 8 quarterback who's draft eligible this year. That's a joke.
Yeah.
Haynes King at number 9 and Rocco Brecht, who we just talked about yesterday, the Iowa State quarterback. He is draft eligible this year as well. Just looking at the top 10, I mean, would you call that a strong class?
It's stacked. It's absolutely stacked. I mean, I don't know that you could go back. I mean, I don't know that you could seriously go back and find a class as quarterback heavy as this one. And I know there have been quarterback heavy classes in the past, but just the top 10. I mean, yeah, we wouldn't be surprised if Carson Beck and Haynes King and, Nico, even though there's probably a lot of people who don't want to see Nico get drafted. This quarterback class is really interesting, man. And that's
Rocco
why
could have a big season. And we were talking about Rocco Beck yesterday.
And Miller Moss.
Really
Miller Moss is right outside the top 10 at 11. I mean, what if Louisville has a big season and Miller Moss throws for 3,500 yards? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for the quarterbacks just to go in a huge wave. I mean, look, eventually one or two or three of these quarterbacks is going to unimpress us throughout the course of the season, and their stock's going to fall. It happens every year. But I'm just telling you, man, if the hype train delivers and stays on the track, you could see an unbelievably epic draft in 2026 come April, because there are some stacked quarterbacks on this list.
Just off the top of my head, I can think of maybe about 6, 7, 8 NFL teams that are likely or have a strong chance of wanting to draft a quarterback in the first round this year. The Colts, the Saints, Giants, Rams, Steelers, Seahawks, and maybe an outside chance, depending on what happens with Bryce, maybe the Panthers, depending on where they fall. I don't think that's the strongest possibility, but again, an outside shot.
Sure.
If, in year number 3, if Bryce Young still can't deliver and his ceiling turns out to be fairly low, maybe you see Carolina, if they have another bad season, see them going quarterback in the first round. So that's like 7 teams that I think could probably go quarterback in the first round. Any shockers there?
No, I'm with you. I mean, I think it's like I said, as strong as a class as we maybe possibly have ever seen. But again, like I said, there will be a few of these guys. Hopefully it's not Lenoris or Cade, that their draft stock falls. It happens. It's just part of it. There's just no way possible you're going to have all 11 of these guys, including Miller Moss, show out. Shane asked if we mentioned Drew Aller. Let's see.
He was number 6.
He was 6 on that list?
Number 6,
yeah. Look, Drew Aller's going to have a big year. I think in that conference, imagine if he, wins 10, 11 games, which is very possible, and throws for, a few thousand yards. All of a sudden, I mentioned Sam Levitt, but what if Drew Aller was the guy that crept his way up to the top and became the hot pick come April, right? It could happen.
I just don't know. I don't know if Drew Aller's got enough star power to be a good quarterback in the NFL. I look at Garrett Nussmeier as basically ready built. Arch, I don't know. I'm like JB with regards to South Carolina. I am not willing to gas up Arch Manning this much just because his last name is Manning. That doesn't mean anything to me. He's actually got to go out there and prove it. I think Lenore Sellers is probably pretty well set to be a quality NFL quarterback as well.
I would imagine NFL GMs look at Garrett Nussmeier as NFL ready-made because of his size, because of his arm strength. You talk about a guy like Josh Allen in Buffalo who, look, did not have the hype that Garrett Nussmeier had. Let's just be honest. He didn't have that hype. And we've seen what Josh Allen's been. Now, I'm not comparing Garrett Nussmeier to Josh Allen, but I do think there are a lot of GMs that will salivate over Garrett Nussmeier, especially if he has a big year.
Cole, I know that a lot of people are looking at Penn State to have a breakout year in 2025. It's like, if it's not going to happen for James Franklin this year, it's not going to happen at all, because you got a number 6 quarterback and you've got the number 1 running back as far as draft eligible players going into next season. Nicholas Singleton, the senior running back for Penn State, Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame, and Le'Veon Moss, the senior for Texas A&M. Your top 3 draft-eligible running backs going into the season. After that, you look at guys like Damon Claiborne, Darius Taylor, Mekhi Hughes at Oregon, Quintravian Wisner at Texas, Jonah Coleman at Washington, and C.J. Baxter is at Texas. So yeah. Look out Texas. They got 2 running backs sitting inside the top 10.
And Penn State has 2 in the top 11.
Well, they do.
Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State's got the best running back room in the country. There's no doubt. Texas is a close second. But here's what I find interesting about running backs. If we could take this page, Diesel, and circle that right there and post it on the wall, right, during football season, These aren't big names like that column over to the left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that column over to the left with that quarterbacks is stacked. There's good running backs in here. Nick Singleton is one of the best running backs in the country, and I like Jeremiah Love a lot at Notre Dame. But which one of these running backs is going to break out and have that spectacular season, right? That we just maybe it's the C.J. Campbells or the Eli Sanders of the world. I don't know, but there's not near the star power as there is, at the quarterback position.
Yeah, and the tough thing is, if you're a fan of old school ground and pound football here in the state of South Carolina, you're going to be disappointed this season, because Clemson does not have one guy listed in the top 75 running backs going into the season, and South Carolina's best bet, Rashul Faison, might not play.
So let me ask you this fun question, because T. Swizzle brought it up on the stream. This is the list, top 75 going into the season, top draft eligible players. If we did a top 75 running backs, Diesel, at the end of the season, do you predict, like T. Swizzle does, Adam Randall, who moved from wide receiver, being in the top 75? I think there's a really good possibility of it. I really do.
Maybe. I mean, I don't really know what his running style is going to be coming off of being a wide receiver. I can't imagine that he's a bruiser, a dude that just wants to go out and truck people. Maybe that smaller body, that kind of scat back that can move left, right, and laterally. I think he's got a real possibility to show some skills there, especially in the ACC that's, got smaller, slower dudes.
Shane on the YouTube stream says, I don't know if Aller is consistent enough. I would be shocked if quarterbacks eligible for this year come back to be in the 2027 class if they can, just because of kind of like what we talked about with Lenoris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not wanting to go with all these other quarterbacks, maybe trying to wait it out one more year so you can be the top QB.
And here's a time for Clemson to shine in the wide receiver room. Cole, Clemson has the number 4 wide receiver, Antonio Williams, redshirt junior. He's number 4. At number 3, Carnell Tate at Ohio State, Evan Stewart at Oregon, and Jordan Tyson, the redshirt junior at Arizona State, your top 3. You got Nick Harbor sitting there at 15. He's a junior. Number 69, Tyler Brown, the junior at Clemson. Obviously, Clemson's still really young at the wide receiver room. They got a lot of talent, though. But this could be a year. And we're not going to have time to get to all the other positions, but Clemson has so many players listed here inside the top, 15, 20 of all these categories. This could be a year that breaks that record of 7 guys getting drafted in 2020.
Yeah, and I'll say this, it wouldn't surprise me if by the time the season ended, Clemson had 3 receivers in the top 75.
You got the number 4 wide receiver, you got the number 10 center, you got the number 3 quarterback, you got the number 1 defensive end. You got the number 1 defensive tackle. You got the number 10 defensive tackle. This team is stacked.
They really are. Tolos, we will, in the very next segment, take you on a whip around of what else is happening in the sports world, a segment we call Daily Wires. That's next. Shane Barrett asked about it, and we will create the Wire to Wire Fantasy League at 5:45 today for you Tolos. You maxed out 2 leagues last year. We'll do it again for you Tolos today at 5:45. We take a look at what's happening in the sports world, a segment we call our Daily Wires. It's the buzz happening right now at this very moment. As Diesel said earlier, the Hub City Spartanburgers were delayed in getting started today, so they just had first pitch moments ago. That game is now underway. The White Sox defeated the Braves 13-9 on Monday night. You know, the White Sox are like one of the worst teams, but so are the Braves. Bryce Elder on the mound tonight for Atlanta, 7:15 first pitch.
At least you could say Jurickson Profar got the bats going. He hit 2 multi-run home runs. He had a 2-run homer in, I think, the 6th and a 3-run homer later after that, and I think in the 8th. So, the bats are going, even though the pitching is now what's letting them down.
Yeah, 9 runs should be enough to get it done against the White Sox. Announced earlier today, football fans in the NFL, the Colts. Any Colts fans in the upstate? You have named Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback. Ooh.
I have a feeling the ABC stores are about to get flooded.
Sound the alarm. That's rough, right?
Indiana.
I mean, him or Anthony Richardson.
Bro.
Pick your poison. That's rough. Yesterday, tempers flared during a 96-degree day at the Titans training camp. Quarterback Cam Ward and defensive lineman Jeffrey Simons got into a little bit of a scuffle on Monday. You like to see it. A little bit of gamesmanship, or, just showing that, hey, I'm the quarterback. I'm not going to just wear a red jersey, Diesel, and let you go at me. I'm going to give it back to you as well. Texas Tech sophomore running back Quentin Joyner, a projected starter, will sit out the 2025 season after he sustained a significant knee injury in Saturday's scrimmage. In Gainesville, Florida quarterback DJ Lagway took team reps Monday for the first time since training camp began, a promising sign for the 15th ranked Gators as they start ramping up for the season opener. That's good news if you're a Gator fan.
How did they get preseason ranked 15th with a quarterback who's so hurt that he didn't start practicing until a week before the season starts? How about that?
In Berkeley, California, freshman Jaron, this one's going to be fun, Jaron Quay Sagapolte. I have no idea if that's right. Probably not.
Sagapalutale.
That we don't know.
Sagapalutale?
Anyways, Jaron KS was named the starting quarterback for Cal's season opener at Oregon State on August 30th. Good luck to the announcers having to say, I might watch a Cal game now just so I can
Sagapulutale.
Sure. Also in Stanford, California, after spending most of his 5 seasons at Oregon State as a backup, Ben Gulbranson, is that right?
You did this to yourself. You put these words on the rundown.
Gulbranson enters his final college season as the starting quarterback for Stanford. Michigan has secured a commitment from the number 2 running back in the 2026 class, number 24 prospect overall, 4-star Savion Hitter from Mineral, Virginia. Today's Daily Wires, I mean, a lot of players with names we're not familiar with.
What happened to Fred Smith?
Yeah, no kidding. How about this? Auburn, we can pronounce this name, will retire number 2 for Cam Newton, the former Tigers quarterback who won the Heisman Trophy in 2010 before leading the team to a national title that season. The retirement ceremony will take place on October 11th, and the game against Georgia.
Oh,
that
man.
should be fun.
That'll be the most exciting thing that happens to Auburn during that game.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you might be right on that. Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Jonathan Mingo likely to start the season on the IR. Minnesota Vikings receiver Justin Jefferson practiced Monday for the first time in 25 days as he continues to recover from the left hamstring strain he suffered last month. Irmo leads Hawaii 1-0 top of the third in the losers bracket. One more for you. Audio post-round at the BMW Championship. Robert McIntyre asked what he can improve on to beat Scotty Diesel. That audio.
Look, he's a better player on the day. I'm just really pissed off right now.
What do you see as kind of improvements you feel like you need to make?
Right now, not a clue. I'm not right now I want to go and smash up my golf clubs, to be honest with you.
That's what he should do, by the way.
You played an amazing round. How do you get better? I don't know, dude. It's Scotty Scheffler. What do you want me to say?
It's Scotty.
When we come back, Cole, let's play a little game called Is It Crazy? You know, we talk all the time about people needing to avoid fall weddings so that you're not getting married during football season. But are there other aspects of life that if you tried to avoid having them fall in football season, that'd be completely normal or nuts? We'll talk about it next. Look, I might be giving a good friend of the show, Josh Pate, more credit than he deserves with this, Cole. But I don't remember before Josh Pate really popularized no fall weddings amongst sports fans. And I think he also gets credit for coining the phrase hoomst. Hoomst among us thought fall weddings were bad. He made that a thing, right? He really started pounding that drum early in his career. No fall weddings. Don't get married during football season. It is going to get in the way of something at some point if you do it. So just don't do it. What did I do? I got married in the fall during football season. But it is something that a lot of American men, especially for sports fans, are failing at. Because did you know that 46% of all weddings in America happen in the fall? September, October, November are the peak months. December falls during football season as well, but it's not nearly as popular as fall. But Tolos, when did you get married? Those of you who are football fans, did you stay strong and avoid the fall wedding, or did you cave and give the wife what she wanted? See, I wanted to get married a little bit earlier. We could have waited for a spring wedding, but my wife's grandmother wasn't doing very well, so we wanted to make sure that we got married before anything happened where that was concerned. So we failed, but we failed for a reason. Tolos, when did you get married? Just give me the month. Text in 844-FAN. Phone 844-326-3663. Is it crazy, though, Cole, to try to set up your wedding day so that it doesn't mess with football season?
No, it's not crazy. But the problem is, for a lot of people, the fall is such a pretty time of year, right?
It's also
like
hurricane
spring,
season.
You have the pretty leaves in the spring. You have the flowers blooming. You have, the Mother Nature, showing off in the spring. And in the fall, Diesel, it's the opposite, right? The leaves are turning colors, especially like up toward the mountains. You have such beautiful views. So I get it. I love the fall. I love sitting outside and enjoying the nature. I'm a big outside guy during the fall as well, but do it. If you're going to do it during the fall, here's my advice. Do it on a Friday. Do it on a Friday night. Do it on do it on a Saturday during football season.
Here's the problem, Cole. The calendar shifts a day every year. So if you get married on a Friday, I don't remember if it shifts forward or if it shifts backwards. If you get married on a Friday, eventually your wedding date will come around and land on a Saturday, and you're in trouble at that point.
Unless you marry a football
fan, in which case she says, hey, let's find a way to incorporate our love for the game into our wedding. I mean, you could argue there's no good time to get married, because if you get married in the spring, there's a ton of pollen. Nobody wants to be outside fighting that. If you get married in the summer, you're outside battling the heat. Nobody wants to deal with that. If you get married in the fall, you're dealing with football season. Nobody wants to deal with that. And if you get married in winter, it's friggin' cold, and you can't do an outside wedding
Dewey
in the
says,
wintertime.
I got married on October 31st. That's what Dewey says. That'd be Halloween.
I don't think Dewey's ever even talked to a girl.
And maybe he was a vampire. Maybe it wasn't a girl, right? It was Halloween.
Texter says, got married in June. Wife never wanted a fall wedding as to not interfere with her football viewing.
There you go.
That's why I married her. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know who your wife is, but figure out how to study her and replicate that with other ladies. Let's see. Jersey Joe's wife is a teacher, so we got married in July while she was out on summer vacation.
Like
Texter says August, deer and football. Are you trying to say that that's a bad time to get married?
August on, right? Yeah.
Corn Chip says, I messed up and got married the same week as my birthday and Valentine's Day. Dude, you're never going to financially recover from this. You got to triple up in the same week?
That was a mistake, right?
Texter says, I got married in May, but if you're a football fan, I think it would be a cool idea to get married during football season if you must, and just make it like a tailgate pregame for the football game. I got married on a bye week. I thought I did it right at the time. It was a bye week for my team, October. That's kind of in that middle part of the season where if you're an SEC fan, there's a good chance you're playing Vanderbilt that week. And if you're an ACC fan, there's a good chance you're playing Syracuse that week. So it's like, okay. I can get away with this.
Yeah, to JD's text, that would be interesting if somehow, some way you did turn it into a football tailgating. I'm not totally opposed to that. I kind of like that. I think that would be interesting. You'd have to obviously both be, football junkies.
Mm-hmm.
You turn it the ceremony into some kind of like watch party where the ceremony is very quick. You get it out of the way, and then the I would say the reception's probably tailgate themed, TVs everywhere.
Hey, the right kind of wife will actually get married at a pregame for a football game. You get married, you go to the game, watch your team whoop some ass, and then you hop on a plane or hop on the highway and go to your honeymoon.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea. So
do it all at the game.
Do it all at the game. So, it's a little crazy to try to engineer your wedding date to not land during football season. I just wonder, Cole, here's one step forward. Is it crazy to engineer the date in which you may get your wife pregnant so that the baby is not born during football season? They say no fall weddings. How about no fall childbirths?
Yeah, you can plan it that way, right?
Is it crazy to actually try that?
I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, let's just say if you want to have a kid, are you trying to avoid knocking her up from January through April so that you don't have a fall birth that interferes with football season?
Yeah, it'd be tough. I'll tell you this, as much time as I spend in the woods during deer season, I wouldn't love having a kid in the fall. I mean, you have a kid in the fall and your entire fall is
shot.
It's dedicated. I mean, you might not be in the tree much, right?
Yeah.
It'd be tough. I don't think that's crazy at all. I have no problem doing that.
That means that the ideal window to impregnate someone so that it doesn't interfere with football season is July through November. Flash forward 9 months.
Yeah.
Now you're having a spring baby. That's where it's really at. I mean, a wedding anniversary, that's going out to dinner on a Saturday night, but a childbirth, that's going to take up a lot of time.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
I do want to, Tolos, let you know while you all are interacting and you're here, you're present, just a little teaser, 5 o'clock, we're going to do a win-loss game with your team. Diesel and I have made our predictions. Now it's time for you to predict. So start preparing yourself. 5 o'clock, we're going to need you, the Tolos, every single one of you. If it takes 3 days, it takes 3 days, but we need you to call in with your team at 5 o'clock. Diesel and I are going to play the win-loss game with you and run through those games and see how smart of a predictor you are. That's coming up in about 1 hour from now, by the way.
Last one here for you, Cole. Is it crazy to name your kid after a player or a mascot for your favorite football team?
Mascot's weird.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm sure there's some Georgia fans who have worked in like UGA as the middle name.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That is strange. You might need to seek help if you do.
Or
that.
like initials. Imagine, I can't think of a man's first name that starts with the letter U, but if you had UG, like make the middle name Grant, he could be UGA, the baby.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with like being named after a player. But you start mascot might be a little too that might be a little too far.
Cole, here's some breaking news for you. NASCAR claims that Michael Jordan is suing the series to earn permanent charter status that no other team possesses. Are we at that point in sports where we're suing the league to get something that no other team has?
I need to understand that a little more. That's interesting. I know that charters have been a hot conversation in terms of NASCAR owners, but that give me a few minutes on that. I want to let that marinate. So Michael Jordan suing NASCAR. Okay. All right.
So Tolos, especially you lady Tolos, is it crazy to avoid the fall wedding? Is it crazy to make sure that you do not have a fall baby so that it doesn't interfere with football season? 844-326-3663. Another reminder for you, Tolos, at this time tomorrow, the Upset Picks Challenge will be live, and you will be able to start getting in your Week 0 upset picks. Do you know yet who you're going to take, Cole?
Yeah, I think I do.
You think you're locked in?
So we will have tomorrow, just so you know, Tolos, we will have Shane Beamer on at 3:45. That interview is going to bleed into the 4 o'clock hour by a few minutes.
Mhm.
And when we get done with Shane Beamer, we'll have to go to break, and then we'll come back and we'll just dive full force in. But it is going to be head first into the Upset Picks Challenge. Even though we have Shane Beamer on, though, right? 4 o'clock on the money, Diesel. When the clock hits 4, they're open.
Yeah. We've gotten special permission from our boss to allow that interview. Obviously, with a coach, a head coach, he can't really be as flexible as some other guests can. So he's available to come on at 4:45 or 3:45 tomorrow. And we've gotten special permission from our boss to push that just a little bit later so we can have some more time with Coach.
And Tolos, don't forget, tell your friends, just because there aren't as many games in week 0, don't just sit it out. Don't sit it out. Go ahead and get your feet warm. Get in the game. Get in the game this week. You might not win. You might, though. There's some winnable games out there. Only 4 to choose from.
Yeah.
But that's one day, 24 hours from right now. How about that?
I feel really good. I mean, really good about Iowa State's chances to beat Kansas State. It's only a 3-point spread, and it's on the road in another continent, in Ireland, in Dublin. I feel really good about that one, but that's obviously only a 3-point spread.
And, yeah, that's the whole thing. But
the other ones are riskier. The other ones are really riskier.
They are risky, but again, do you want to get on the board and have 3 points? It 3.5, whatever it is. It's just interesting. I don't think I do. I think I'd rather be off the board with a chance to swing and hit a 10-pointer. I want the risk tomorrow.
JD asks on the stream, is there a prize this year? Well, yeah, JD, don't you remember that you agreed to put up $100 for the winner? Yeah. So we're going to need you to go ahead and do that now. So that
bragging
we can put
rights
it in our pocket,
isn't enough for
hang
you,
on
JD.
No, there's no prize. Unfortunately, with radio, there's a ton of legalities to deal with when there is prizing involved. So we weren't able to get all of those details worked out for this year. We really want to have there be a prize in years in the future. We'd love to see that happen, but there really are a lot of moving pieces. It's not just, hey, can we find somebody to put up a prize? We can certainly find somebody to put up a prize. It's all of the other side stuff that makes giving away a prize, especially something with significant monetary value, really tough to do.
So we will allow you to have bragging rights. That's enough. I'm with you, JD. We all want a prize, but again, legal stuff like Diesel said, bragging rights will have to be enough. But it doesn't matter. Here's why it doesn't matter. The whole prize thing, it doesn't matter because none of you Tolos are going to get it anyways. I mean, what am I going to do? Get
Harold's
the prize
gonna
for
win.
myself?
Harold's going to win. We already know that.
No, I don't think Harold's going to. I think Harold's all talk. I don't know if he's going to do as good this year as he did last year.
I mean, we don't even know if Harold's still with us.
That's
because we haven't heard from him. It's dark. I know it's dark. That? I mean, do you think that we're going to hear from Harold tomorrow after we haven't heard from him for like 6 weeks?
Yes, Upset Picks is tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
I guarantee it.
The question is, where the heck is Delvin? Delvin only now calls and texts in during the Upset Picks Challenge. He's a smart guy. We'd love to hear from Delvin. JD says he had to send his money to a toll road text.
And then he's asking about eating lunch with the host. I don't want to eat lunch with you. I'm kidding. Is that what he says in years past?
Is the Tolo buying? Is the winner buying? I'll go then.
Lunch with the host. I don't think anybody wants to eat lunch with Diesel and I. I really don't.
Plus, we eat at weird hours too.
Yeah.
So,
but best of luck to you, Tolos.
Keith from Fountain Inn is going to win it all, says a texter. I assume this is Keith saying that he is going to win. Buckeye Brian says, Saturday during the season, you have some issues to deal with. I assume you're talking about getting married during football season.
Yeah, guess so.
I don't know. Another texter here says, stop overthinking this no weddings during football season. It's only one day. I love football, but if you're watching football all day and every night, where'd the other half of this go?
Text.
Yeah, the other half of this text is gone. Guys, sorry. Text messages get broken in half.
And that's Buckeye Brian.
Oh, okay.
So he says, but if you're watching football all day and night every Saturday during the season, you have some issues to deal with. Is what he means there. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't see an issue with that, Buckeye Brian.
What kind of issues, Buckeye Brian?
You turn it on at noon. Well, you turn it on at 9 a.m. for College game day, right? And then you watch all the way until like 2 a.m. what used to be Pac-12 after dark. I used to love watching the 2 a.m. games.
Texter from the 262 says, I disagree. Lunch with you guys would be fun. Well, if that's what I mean, I don't know.
How about winner gets lunch with JD?
Is that legal to say winner gets lunch with the host? I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't stop that, right? There's no legality behind that. I don't believe.
Danby on the stream says the 5th game is now live.
No way.
With a spread.
No, I hadn't seen that.
Let's go check it out.
So that was
the Idaho State UNLV game. Oh, this is a big one. UNLV favored by 24.5. FCS Idaho State on the road.
Breaking news
at
right
UNLV.
There.
Look at that.
So I don't see it yet. So, wait a minute. I see it now. 4:00, right?
Over under 64.5. They think UNLV is going to boat race Idaho State.
How about that breaking news from DB? I appreciate that, DB. So now we have things have really gotten interesting, Diesel. We're going from 4 games tomorrow to be able to choose to 5. So
who's going to be the crazy one to take Idaho State over UNLV?
That's a lot of points.
It's gonna happen.
You might win that gum challenge if you do that, right?
It's gonna happen. 24 points. I mean, you hit for 24 points. At the very least, you're guaranteed to have points by the end of the season, assuming you make a pick every week.
You're sitting pretty. So a little bit of breaking news. There are now 5 games to choose from for tomorrow's Upset Picks Challenge. How about that? UNLV, the Running Rebels, favored by 24.5 points.
Shane Barrett says you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, and you can't watch ball all day if you don't start with College game day.
Thank you, Shane.
Love it.
You can't. There's nothing wrong with watching all day. I even so during the fall, I am that guy. If I'm going somewhere, I'll still watch. As long as you're not driving. If I'm in the woods, I will still watch. I will still have it on my phone or whatever else it is. I'm going to watch regardless. You just got to find a way sometimes.
Well, how are you supposed to see that buck coming across your
you got
field of vision?
You got plenty of ways to set your phone up, kind of, keep popping back and forth.
You listen with the headphones in?
I don't care about listening most of the time. I just want to see it.
Okay.
Shane Barrett asked on the he texted me. I'm going to read it on the thing on the air. This is funny. He texted me about the Fantasy Football League, which we are doing. 545 Tolos will open that up. And Shane says randomly, have you lost weight? How much do you think I've lost, Shane? Guess the number on the stream. I have, but I didn't know it was that noticeable. So I'm glad you noticed. It's working. I have lost I think I've lost 23, 24 pounds, something like that. So noticeable. I didn't know if you'd be able to tell on the stream, though. So it's been a while since Shane, by the way, who lives in Tuscaloosa, and Tolo's from Tuscaloosa every single day. Not every day, but a lot of days. So Tolo's, if Shane can do it from Tuscaloosa, you can as well. Let's talk Gamecocks every Tuesday, 4:22. We'll be joined by Jack Veltri, Gamecock Central. If you're a Carolina fan and have a question for Jack, let us know. There's also going to be a question from Diesel about some cookies, and I'm getting hungry already thinking about them because for whatever reason right now, Diesel, Emily Beamer, Shane Beamer's wife, her cookies are like a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, that's a viral sensation going around. They tasted the cookies earlier today at the press conference, and Jack posted a picture. They look good. We'll talk Gamecocks with Jack Veltri next. we try our very best to keep things local, relevant, current on the Fan Upstate. And speaking of that, we bring on Jack Veltri, who just a few hours ago was in a meeting room where Shane Beamer spoke to the media. Jack Veltri joins us right now on the Fan Upstate. If you South Carolina Gamecock fans have a question, hit us up on the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line. We may or may not get to it, but you can put that question in and submit your question for Jack. Jack, you just a few hours ago heard from Shane Beamer as well as the other media in the room. Your biggest takeaways from Shane Beamer on this Tuesday were?
Yeah, the main thing was that South Carolina had their second scrimmage, their final scrimmage of the fall on Saturday, and he said it went really, really well. Like, he got a lot accomplished, which is what you want to hear. Now, more specifically, they treated it pretty much just like a game in a lot of ways. They had their TV timeouts, they had a halftime, all that sort of stuff. And they also had to, obviously, there's been a lot of bad weather throughout the state of South Carolina lately, and there was some storms over Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday, so they had to wait an hour in the locker room, the players did, and they moved the scrimmage inside. But he talked about just how proud he was of the fact that they were able to get the scrimmage in, how the players handled the whole thing, and there was a lot of good that he said that came out of it. Obviously, they had at least one turnover from Gerald Kilgore, who had a really nice interception that's kind of blown up a little bit on Gamecock football Twitter, but they also put the kickers and punters in some really tough situations. They did a few 2-minute drives to try and kick field goals for the win, and that was, always good to hear from that standpoint. But yeah, the main point was that they really wanted to make it feel as game-like as possible, and that's what you want now that you're less than 2 weeks away from your first game out in Atlanta.
Jack, I hear that, this might be the first time ever Shane Beamer was not the star of the show when it came to that press conference. It was his wife, Emily's cookies that she brought in to the meeting. I saw that you did a review of it. You just posted the photo. Can we get a review of the cookie? And where in your mind, I don't know if you're a cookie connoisseur or not, but what kind of everyday establishment that isn't a bakery has the best cookie out there?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. With Emily and whatnot, for context, last week, one of the media members had asked Beamer if, first off, Shane mentioned the whole, how his wife got some critics online talking about how the cookies were undercooked and all that she made the Netflix documentary, and so Shane defended her and whatnot. And then someone in the media asked Shane if those cookies would be in the media availability for this week. And Shane kept his word, and Emily made the cookies last night for the media, which they were really good. I think I gave it a 9.5 on my review on Twitter. So they were very good, chewy, soft, a lot of chocolate chips in them. Very good, and certainly not undercooked, like some wannabe critics out there might have to say. As for the best cookies out there, oh God, there's a lot. My mom makes really good cookies, so shout out to my mom. But you got Baked Bear, which is always really good. Insomnia is pretty good. So McDonald's also has pretty good cookies. So you really can't go wrong with places like that. But obviously, making them from scratch, they typically taste the best that way.
Also, don't sleep on a 7-Eleven cookie. That's their thing. Like Spinks's thing is chicken and QT's thing is pizza, but the 7-Eleven cookie is legit.
Oh, man, I'm going to check that out next time I go to 7-Eleven.
Hey, Jack, we were starting the show today by looking at the South Carolina defense, position by position, projected starters for this season, and just talking about the experience that does return and does not return. I kind of looked at the two interior defensive tackles and the two linebackers is the areas I guess, draw a question mark for this Gamecocks defense. I like the experience on the edge, and I also like the experience in the secondary. From your experience talking to Shane Beamer, being at practice, being at scrimmages, would you kind of agree with that sentiment, or do you feel like that there's too much being made about South Carolina's defense and as much as they lost from a season ago?
Well, I do think there has been a lot made about what they've lost out there on defense. I mean, look, you can't hide away from the fact that You have 4 starters returning from a season ago, and a lot of your guys got drafted and are in the NFL now. So that's clear and obvious, and that's been something that's been talked about for months, ever since the NFL draft back in April. But I do think this team does have depth. Now, I say that, and then Shane Beamer comes out today and says that George Wilson, one of the transfer edges in the room, is going to be out for a while, potentially. From the way he made it sound, he didn't say it was season ending, but like they're kind of exploring the option of potentially getting him back for 2026. So that's not necessarily ideal, especially considering you have 2 other guys that are pretty banged up in that room as well. So the edge depth has kind of gone down a little bit, I would say, but they're handling it pretty well. And then at the other positions, I think they also have enough depth, especially on the defensive line with the tackle position and whatnot. But again, I think the main thing we're going to have to see, South Carolina did a very good job last year of rotating multiple guys in there. I think it was like 6 or 7, 8 guys that they were able to rotate in at the tackle and edge spots in games. Can they do that again this year? Because they treated it kind of like hockey shifts last year, as I remember them saying it. If they're able to do that again this year and do it successfully, then I feel like that kind of answers the question of, yeah, this team has enough depth.
Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central joining us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. So if you're Brent Pry, the Virginia Tech head coach, if you're Phil Montgomery, Virginia Tech's offensive coordinator, where are you really attacking over those first, 10 to 15 scripted plays? Are you trying to run it up the middle to that relatively inexperienced interior defensive line? Are you trying to, throw it right over that defensive line into that secondary and those young linebackers?
Shane talked a little bit about that today. He was kind of asked about the defense and the sacks they had last year and what you kind of approach as a defense. And the first thing he said was you want to take away the run, because then that forces your quarterback, in this case it would be Kyron Jones for Virginia Tech, to throw the football. And I think if you're Virginia Tech coming into this game, I don't know exactly what they're going to do offensively. I know they have a new running back in there, so that's one thing where I think you're going to want to try to, if you're going to beat South Carolina's defense, I think you're going to try to start doing it on the ground. Because again, like I just said, from Virginia Tech's standpoint, if you're able to run the football efficiently, that forces South Carolina to not only just defend the pass, but they haven't been able to take away the run. And we saw that kind of last year with the LSU game, where LSU's offense was really predicated on throwing the football and not so much running, because they had a lot of injuries and whatnot. Well, lo and behold, they run the football really well. And then that allows Garrett Nussmeier and those receivers to have a good connection on the outside and force South Carolina to think a little bit more and be prepared for a double threat. So I think that's what we kind of see with this year's team is, can they be able to stop the run? And that way that really puts a lot of pressure on a guy like Kyron Jones.
Jack, I'm going to ask you to go in the mind of Shane Beamer. Obviously, concerns, worries, things like that may not be talked about at press conferences from, the internal conversations that are had within a coaching staff. But if you could go in the mind of Shane Beamer, now that we're a week and a half or so away from the first game, what do you think is the biggest concern as we're inching closer to kickoff against Virginia Tech?
That's a great question, Cole. It's hard to kind of pinpoint what the number one concern would be. I do think, kind of going back to what I said before about the edge room and the injuries they've sustained there, I think it's just staying healthy. Because we saw 2 years ago, with as many similarities as we draw to the beginning of the preseason for 2023 to now, in terms of expectations and hype and doing all these things, injuries were a big concern for that 2023 team, and it really hurt them in a lot of these games where they ended up going 5-7. You hope the same thing doesn't happen here, and you hope the guys they're losing right now doesn't linger to maybe like a Lenore Sellers or anyone else that's really critical to success. Luckily, it hasn't been that way, but I think it's just staying healthy is kind of the main thing that's probably at the top of Beamer's mind right now. And he mentioned it for the scrimmage. Like, that was his main thing, was that staying healthy more than anything, making sure he's getting the reps for the guys that are going to be playing a lot next week, but also at the same time, like, making sure they're not banged up or anything.
Jack, we were going through Phil Steele's top draft eligible prospects going into the season, and Lenore Sellers, I think off the top of my head, sits around 6 or 7 on his list of draft eligible quarterbacks. Where do you think in your mind is sort of that breakover point? If Lenore achieves more than this, there's a really good chance he goes off to the NFL. If he doesn't achieve that, he probably comes back to South Carolina for another year.
Yeah, I think it's just, you look at what he did last year. I think the way we're going to see Lenoris grow, we'll see the passing hopefully go up. We'll see the running ability that he has. I think the real way we're going to be able to measure Lenoris, and it's an underrated factor and stat that I think is so important to South Carolina's success this year. We've heard about it all offseason. Minimizing the turnovers. He had a lot of fumbles last year. He had 10 in total, but 6 of them were lost fumbles. So you cut that number in half last year. I mean, some of those fumbles that came maybe in like the Alabama game or the LSU game, games that you lost pretty close. What happens if you don't have those mistakes? You know, I think that can be kind of applied towards this year of like, okay, how much did you learn from last year? What have you done this offseason to really improve in terms of lessening the fumbles? And if he's able to really do a better job of protecting the football, and that goes for the entire team in general, but if he can mainly protect the football, I think that really opens up the door for him to have more opportunities to put together big scoring drives and have more plays under his belt.
Jag Veltri, Gamecock Central, joining us right now on the Fan Upstate. Jag joins us Tuesdays at 4:22 during college football season. Give him a follow on Twitter, on X, at Jack T. Veltri. That's Veltri. He's staff writer for Gamecock Central. They're on Twitter, on X, at Gamecock Central. Check out his work there. He also talks sports in Columbia from 9 to 11 a.m. on 107.5 The Game. So he's all over the place. Jack, if I am a Gamecock fan and I'm a little bit concerned, a little bit worried about the depth at wide receiver, Nick Harbor obviously could be a massive boost to the wide receiving room, especially since he's really been focusing on football. But if I'm a Gamecock fan that's concerned about the receiving core, the receiving room in 2025, what would you tell me?
I don't think I'd be that concerned, to be honest, Cole.
Okay.
You know, I think if you look at it from the standpoint of, okay, maybe they don't have a true number one receiver right now. All right, I'll give you that. I think that's very fair. But at the same time, I think the depth is so much better in this room to where all those guys that were here last year, Nick Carver, Jared Brown, Vandrevius Jacobs, guys like that Amazio Bennett, that were here last year, that maybe were a little bit inexperienced, they're back for another year. And from what we hear, they have taken big steps forward. But it's also like you brought in a really nice freshman receiving corps of 6 guys that could potentially make an impact right away. That is something that you have to feel very confident in if you're a South Carolina fan. So, yeah, you might look at it like, oh man, they don't have like the Xavier Legette threat out there. But let's keep in mind with Xavier Legette and having the season that he had 2 years ago, you know, he was a guy that did nothing throughout much of his first 4 seasons with the Gamecocks. So all it takes is one game to really get a guy going, and from there, maybe South Carolina will be able to find their number one threat throughout the year. But I don't think this team lacks depth at that position. They're going to have a lot of guys that are going to be able to try and make an opportunity of themselves this season.
Jack, a tray of Mrs. Beamer's cookies, not the weirdest thing that showed up on a South Carolina desk in the last couple of weeks. What can you tell us about this story of OC Mike Shula's unconventional desktop ornament, the poo?
Oh God, you know, myself, honestly, I'm like ciphering through like the audio and stuff, and so I'm not even fully like, I can't even really comprehend what all was going on. I just kept hearing like the word poop being brought up and stuff, and I'm just like, what? But from like my understanding, again, from the what I've been able to listen back to so far for media availability, Lenoris Sellers brought up today something along the lines of Mike Shula has like this poop like ploy thing or something to kind of like this plastic poop thing to like, I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. Like I'm still I'm as confused about it as you guys are. We actually will talk to Mike tomorrow, and so hopefully we get a little bit more clarity there. I don't know exactly the entire purpose behind it off the top of my head, but it was again, there were like 5 or 6 poop questions today, and I'm just like, guys, what I get it. We all need our stories for tomorrow and whatnot, but What are we asking here?
That is that's strange. I didn't have that on my bingo card for today. Jack,
Neither did I, Cole. Neither did I.
My last question for you. When you look at the next week of preparation, obviously we know what's happening in Atlanta. Next Tuesday, we'll really dive in deep with you in terms of that game, the preview, the game plan, what Virginia Tech presents on both sides of the ball. But from the actual, focusing on South Carolina aspect of it, from what you've seen, South Carolina in these last few moments needs to focus on what in these next few days to prepare before they really start game planning for the Hokies?
I think on both sides of the ball, number one with the offense, I asked Shane about it today, but I think you almost really do want to figure out what's going on with. I know you can't force the NCAA to give you an answer on phase-on, but I think you kind of want to have like an idea of like, all right, here's what we're doing going into game one. And today, Shane did mention, I asked him basically about that. They're treating phase-on like he's going to be ready to play game one. Like that's how they're going into it with the reps and stuff. But they also understand like, hey, we got to get these other guys ready to play as well. So there's a good balance of that of like, hey, we're not like limiting Rasul out there just because he's not cleared yet. We're treating it like he's going to be playing in game one. So finding that balance of who's going to be running the football for you potentially, and if it's phase on, what does that look like for you? Defensively, I think it's also with the depth and the injuries you've been dealing with. How much are you going to be able to rotate guys, and also what are you getting out of this defense going into week one?
He is Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central. Find him on Twitter at Jack T Veltri, Veltri. Next time you Tolos hear his voice on this station, it'll be game week. Excited for it, pal. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks as always.
That is Jack Veltri of Gamecock Central. How about that, Cole? Just a weird question, weird situation coming out of that quarterback room, and Mike Shula and the doggy do on the desk.
I want to shout out Spartanburg Jay listening to the show from Michigan today. He texted the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. He says, listening from Michigan, going to try to play this year, and those 24 points are a tempting way to kick it off.
When we come back, Tolos, I want to ask you, do you have anything that you would like to declare? Because one major university has made one heck of a declaration leading up to the college football season. Why? I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll get into it next on the Fan Upstate. Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson sharing some late breaking news. This is not good. Apparently, App State's running back Kanye Roberts has just torn his ACL and is done for the season. Bro, that's terrible.
Next man up.
That's rough.
We'll
see. We'll see what happens, Cole. But do you any of you Tolos have anything that you'd like to declare right now? Anything you want to say? Anything that you want to put out of the world as a fact? I guarantee you, whatever it is you have to say is not as crazy as Auburn, who just claimed a week before the season starts, hey, guess what? We actually have 4 more national championships. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I saw that.
On3 Sports is reporting that Auburn football is now claiming the 1910, 1914, 1958, and 2004 national championships.
Sounds like something Jerry Jones would do, like in the off season, right? Just to kind of grab the attention when nothing else is going on. Random. I know maybe they're just like sitting down in a meeting today. They decided on the whole Cam Newton retirement of the jersey, right? And they're like, oh, by the way, let's go ahead and claim these other, like only Auburn, right?
I guess it's the only way they're going to win another one. Look, 2004, you could make an argument for. They finished number 2 in the country. They were undefeated. Southern Cal, was that the year Southern Cal and Texas played for the national championship? That fantastic season. And Auburn didn't get a chance to play because the BCS decided who's 1 and 2, and they go play each other for a national championship. Southern Cal officially holds the 2004 national championship with the BCS. But that year, Auburn went 13-0. They finished number 2. They won the Sugar Bowl, beating Virginia Tech 16-13, which at the time was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could make a case for that one. Back before then, Cole, that's when you had like multiple writers associations and newspapers.
That's how Bama got all their championships.
That's how Bama got all of them. That's how Michigan got all of them. But like, this is nuts, right? This is nuts. It's stupid. It's pointless. I mean, I guess if you want to get people off of the Hugh Freeze spends too much time on the golf course conversation, sure. But like, what's the point here, guys? What are we doing?
I just wonder if Hugh Freeze had any part of this.
Either that or something really crazy is about to come down and they want to get people's conversation or get their minds off of it.
I don't like claiming national championships. Bama, obviously, we joke about it. But look, you talk about claim national championships just so you can add it to your banner. Auburn hasn't been relevant in quite some time, right? Since Cam Newton?
Right.
I mean, is that what we're talking about here? Yeah, they've won games. They beat Bama, kick 6, stuff like that. But it's been way too long since Auburn's been relevant for them to be bringing this up. It looks weird.
As of right now, officially speaking, LSU and Iowa claimed the 1958 national championships. In that year, Auburn went 9-0-1 and finished 4th overall. You finished 4th. What are you doing claiming titles when you finished 4th? That's stupid. Back in 1914, pre-war, Army won the national championship. I don't know if Auburn wants to go up against Army. I don't think they want that smoke. They went 8-0-1 in 1914. Army officially the sole national champions that year. I don't think they want that.
Jeff R. on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line says they are saying they have added an additional 7 national championships everywhere else. I don't know.
I mean, but isn't that indicative of the world we live in now? You could just assert whatever reality you want to assert. And like, this is my truth. I'm living my truth. I guess Auburn is living their truth, even though it's over there in Rainbow Land.
All right, Tolos, I'm going to explain to you what we're doing in the very next segment. This is a Tolo participation segment, which means if you are listening to the show, yep, we're talking to you, driving up to 85, cussing the traffic, you sitting at home watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, as 151 of you Tolos are doing. We're going to allow you to make your predictions in the very next segment. Last week was our week of predictions. Diesel and I predicted just about everything you can predict last week. You heard us. You listened. Now, It is your turn to predict. So we're going to play the win-loss game with your team. How that works, you call the show, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. We'll start off by win-loss gaming Diesel with his App State Mountaineers now that his running back's out for the season to show you how it works. But you're predicting the record for your team. You call the show, you give us your team. That's all you have to do. And then after that, we'll pull up the team schedule, go through game by game, win-loss game. You're the expert. You're making the predictions next at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. Tolos, it is your opportunity, your chance to be the expert. Maybe you just got off work on this Tolo Tuesday. Maybe you had a bad day at work. That's possible. It's a possibility of any day at work. Sometimes for you, Tolos is a bad day at work, right? But it is now time for you to become the expert. We are doing a win-loss game with you. What is a win-loss game? It's very simple. You call the show, you tell us who your team is, and we pull up their schedule. We go game by game, as I'm about to do with Diesel, and you predict the record of finish for your team in 2025. Dan B's already on hold, waiting on Nebraska because he is a Nebraska fan. So it doesn't matter. NFL, college, pro, heck, you want to do high school, we'll do it. Whatever you want to do. Right here, the win-loss game, an opportunity for you, Tolos, to put your prediction hats on in this very segment. Let's quickly, Diesel, show the Tolos exactly how it's done so they can participate. If you've never called the show before, let today be the first time you call the show. Let's see how good of a picker you are. Diesel's team is App State, so he calls the show. He says, my name's Diesel. App State's my team. All right, Diesel, ready? 2025 App State football schedule.
Let's do it.
Charlotte 49ers.
Charlotte is a team that always struggles to get good talent there. Bottom half of the American Athletic Conference. I think this game, by the way, is at Charlotte, but it's being played in Bank of America Stadium. So it's played in a neutral site. I think App State wins this game. And again, the news that we got in the last segment that App State's running back Kanye Roberts tore his ACL. The interesting thing is I would have guessed that Kanye Roberts would be the clear number one running back this season, but according to Phil Steele, who knows all, right? You never question Phil Steele. He's actually listed as the number 2 back on the roster behind a transfer who came in from Arkansas. Number 3 back is a guy that came in from Tennessee. So a lot of power program transfers in the running back room. Certainly hurts to lose that depth and experience, but I think App State handles Charlotte fairly easily.
Okay, and Tolos, for time purposes, don't give near as much details and insight as Diesel just did.
Sorry.
Lindenwood.
I don't even know who that is. That's a win.
No insight there, Diesel. Are you kidding me?
The Lindenwood.
Lindenwood?
I'm going to guess they're the – do you know?
Lions.
What? How do you know that?
I'm looking at the schedule.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was like, how does he know
Lindenwood
that?
Lions. Diesel, you're going 2-0 on App State.
2-0.
All right, Saturday, September 27th at Boise State. Win or loss?
Well, you skipped their September 13th game on the road at Southern Miss. That's a Charles Huff-led team. Charles Huff taking basically his entire team from Marshall down to –
my apologies. How did I miss Southern Miss?
Hattiesburg. Southern Miss, I think, wins this game on the road. They're an improved team. I think Southern Miss wins.
Okay, so – Southern Miss, you've got App State 3-0. Is that right?
That's the loss.
Oh, I'm sorry, loss. I'm sorry. I was answering
2-1.
phone calls. Okay, at Boise State, 2-1 becomes.
Oh, that's another loss. 2-2.
Oregon State.
I don't know anything about this Oregon State team. For some reason, big games. App State doesn't play well in big games at home. Okay. So another loss. 2-3.
2-3 at Georgia State.
They suck. Win.
3-3 hosting Coastal Carolina.
Coastal had a sub 500 season last year. They're not very good either. I'm going to call a win on a walk-off field goal, 4-3.
Hey, by the way, that'll be a big game. Saturday, maybe a night game, right? Time TBA.
Always a blast when the Shots come to town.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. So what's your record again so far?
4-3.
At Old Dominion.
At Old Dominion. Oof. That's a program that hadn't beat App State, but like once in its history. Okay. I'm going to say we win that game. I'm going to say we win that game.
All right. So you're 5 wins?
Yeah. I'm not.
Wins?
Yeah. 5-3. I'm not super confident about this team this year.
Okay. Bye week, Georgia Southern in Boone. 5-3 becomes?
5-3 becomes 5-4.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a Thursday night game.
Yeah. All right. Saturday, November 15th at JMU in Harrisonburg.
That's a loss.
That's tough there.
Yeah.
5-5. Hosting Marshall, the Thundering Herd.
Win.
Okay, I like it. 6
Win
and
because they
5.
lost their entire team to Southern Miss.
And then you're facing Arkansas State, led by, do you remember from yesterday, Arkansas State?
Champions of Life, Butch Jones.
Yes. Yes, congratulations.
You could have stopped at Butch Jones. That's a win.
So you have 7 wins, 5 losses.
7 and 5.
All right, there
Go
you
to a
go.
bowl game. How about
That
that?
is how you do it. Diesel's going to pull up Nebraska's schedule for 2025. So while he does that, we're going to go to the phone lines. We've got Dan B., Scotty from BMW, Dewey. If you just tuned in, we're playing the win-loss game, just as Diesel just did with App State. He has App State 7 and 5, and we bring DB on the show. DB, you ready, man?
Yep.
All right, Diesel, take it away.
All right, Dan, to start the season, you're playing a Cincinnati in Kansas City.
Yeah, no, that's a win.
Okay, I like
1-0 to start. I love it. Okay. Game 2 of the season, September 6th, facing Akron.
A win.
You better hope so. 2-0. Week 3, Houston Christian.
Greater than 99% to win.
Is this a high school
No
schedule?
kidding,
What is
man.
this, Dan? Come on.
Wow.
Week 4, still at home. How about that? Not a true road game on the schedule yet, facing Michigan in Lincoln.
All right, I'll take it as a loss, but they are only a 3-point underdog at this time.
Okay, 4-0. You say? No, you said it's a loss,
That's
right?
a loss.
No.
3-1.
I'll give that one.
3-1. Okay, bye week, and then you're facing Michigan State. Both of you off of a bye.
Yep. Another win.
Another win. So you got 4-1 at that point. Then you're going on the road at Maryland.
Another win.
5-1 on the road at Minnesota.
So there's 2 of these kind of coin flipping. Well, actually, there's 3. I'm going to go ahead and take the loss on this one.
Okay, 5-2.
Minnesota, and it's a coin flip.
5-2 ball game, 5-2 team at that point. And then you're facing Northwestern at home.
Yeah, that's another high percentage win.
6-2. Then you're facing Southern Cal at home.
Yeah, so this was it, coin flip-ish. I'll take the home win as an upset.
Wow, that's a big win.
7-2. Southern Cal coming off a bye. Then you're going on the road against UCLA, who are also coming off a bye.
Yeah, I'll take it as a win.
8-2 football team, bye week, and then you go on the road at Penn State.
Yeah, that's a loss.
8-3, and you close out the season on a Friday night against Iowa at home.
Yeah, so I think they'll be excited to have their chance at going 9-3. So I'm going to call that coin flip-ish. We're 54% to win, so I'll call it the win.
9-3, a 2-win improvement
year,
for Matt Rule in his 3rd season. How about that? 9-3, says Dan.
Dan, we've got it written down. Thanks, man.
Maybe that's how Josh Pate puts them in the playoffs.
There you go. All right.
Thanks, Dan.
Let's go to Scotty from BMW who wants to go Tennessee Titans. Scotty, you ready, man?
I am. What's up, guys?
All right. What's up, man? Good to hear from you. As always, we're going regular season. Tennessee Titans is Scotty's team at the Denver Broncos to open the season on September 7th.
That's a loss.
Okay. 0-1.
0-1.
Diesel's keeping track of the record. The next week, they're hosting the LA Rams.
That's a loss.
Wow.
0-2.
Down on this team already. The next week in Nashville, again, hosting Daniel Jones-led Indianapolis Colts.
I think we got a win there, guys.
Okay, I'm with
1-2.
I'd hope so, right? I'd hope so. 1-2. You travel to Houston the next week, NRG Stadium, Houston Texans.
That's a loss.
Ooh, 1-3.
All right. At Arizona and Glendale.
Ooh, that's a toss-up.
I'm going to
say that's a loss.
Oh, my gosh.
1-4.
Are you sure you're a Titans fan? You're a realistic
Scotty.
Titans fan. Next week.
I love my team, but I'm not crazy.
Okay, I like it. Scotty, next week, your Titans go to Las Vegas, Nevada to take on the Raiders.
I think we got that one.
Okay.
2-4.
2-4. Nissan Stadium, back in the friendly confines, hosting New England.
That's a loss.
Ooh.
2-5.
Another rematch from your division foe at Indy.
We'll probably lose the second one.
God.
2-6.
It's a rough start
Jeez,
for the Tennessee Titans because it doesn't get any better or easier, Diesel. Next week in Nashville, hosting Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
That's a loss.
Yeah.
2-7.
Yep. Bye week comes around. You host the Texans.
That will probably lose that one too.
Okay.
2-8.
This is not getting any better. Seattle and Nashville. The Seahawks come to town.
See, I think we can upset them.
Yeah, I hope
don't have
so.
nothing against my
I hope so.
quarterback.
You're due for a win.
3-8.
It's been 9 years since you picked a win, Scotty. 3-8. Titans will host the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's probably our last win of the season.
Wow.
4-8.
And there's still like 6 games at Cleveland.
That's a loss.
Are you kidding me?
4-9.
At San Francisco.
That's a loss.
Hosting
4-10.
Kansas City.
Ooh. Late in the season, I think we can win that one. Mahomes get hurt.
You picked them to lose
5
every
and
game, but
10.
you haven't beaten the Chiefs?
5-10. Come on, Scotty. Come on, Scotty. You didn't stop on your way home to pick up a 6-pack,
Oh
did you?
my gosh. All right, so we're at 5-10 now, right, Diesel?
I'm
Yep.
just being honest. Hey,
All
didn't
right.
they have that first draft pick last year? They didn't do much better in the offseason.
All right, you're hosting the Saints on December 28th.
Ooh, that's definitely a win. We got that one.
Okay.
6-10.
And then finishing the season in Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm gonna say that's a loss. That's a loss.
6-11, Scotty.
Ooh. Is
We
that
got
good?
the
I mean,
first
what
round draft pick next year?
first round draft pick? I mean, are you happy? Are you happy with that, Scotty?
No, but you gotta be realistic. I ain't gonna be one of these crazy fans.
I mean, they went 3-14 last year, so 6 wins is pretty good.
So I doubled it. I doubled it.
There
I
you
said
go.
10
You
more.
doubled it. Thanks for the call,
Thanks,
Scotty.
Scotty.
We appreciate you as always, man. We're playing the win-loss game
How
right
about
here
that?
on the Fan Upstate Tolos. If you just tuned into the show, call the show with your team, just as Scotty and DB and Diesel did so wonderfully. We will pull up the schedule for your team.
Mm-hmm.
You make the predictions. Diesel, you pull up the Gamecock schedule because long-lost Dewey joins the show. And Dewey, before we do this, can we just say like 12-0, or are you going to be realistic about it? We actually need to go through the schedule.
Well, I thought about it, and I think I need to be realistic.
Okay.
Okay, Dewey, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, week number 1 in Atlanta, taking on Virginia Tech.
That's going to be a win.
Okay, week 2, September 6th, facing
By
South
the way,
Carolina
what's your name and your
State.
team?
That's a win.
2-0, week 3 against Vanderbilt.
That's a win.
3-0 to start the season. Then they'll go on the road and face Missouri.
That's going to be a loss.
3-1. All right. Then coming off a bye on September 27th, facing Kentucky in Columbia.
That's a borderline, but I think a win.
4-1. How about that?
4-1.
4-1
How about
going
that?
into the bye week. And then they face LSU on the road.
That's going to be a loss.
How about Oklahoma at home on October 18th?
That's a win.
It's a win. 5-2.
He's got him at 5-2 as of right now.
5-2
Okay.
through October 18th. And then October 25th, you're facing Alabama.
That's a win.
What?
Whoa,
6
6-2.
wins. How
6
about
and 2.
that? Then you're facing Mississippi on the road. That would be Ole Miss.
That's a loss.
That's a loss on the road. You got them at 6-3 bye week, and then they're going on the road at Texas A&M.
That's a loss.
6-4. November 22nd, facing Coastal Carolina.
That better be a win.
Yeah, no.
And then to wrap it up, they'll play Clemson at home in Williams-Brice, which I'm sure is going to be a sold-out game.
Be a win.
There you go.
So
He's
what-
got him at 8-4.
8-4, Dewey.
He's got him at 8-4.
Dewey, I will say this. I'm proud of you for keeping it realistic there.
I tried, but if they go 5-0, they're going to go 12-0.
Okay.
There you go, Dewey, with
He
the
just said
8-4
if they
record.
go 5-0, they're going to go 12-0. So if he says if they're going to start hot, they're going
Stay
to finish.
hot. Interesting.
Dewey. All right. Back to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. John Dog, what's up, man?
How y'all doing?
Good. Your team is?
Georgia
Bulldogs. You ready?
Yes, sir.
2025 Georgia Bulldogs open up at home August 30th with a thundering herd of Marshall.
Win.
Okay.
1-0.
Next week, you host Austin P.
Win.
2-0.
2-0.
Next week, you play competition, finally, at Neyland Stadium, Tennessee Volunteers.
That'll be a tough one, but that's 3-0.
Okay.
3-0.
Going to the bye, John Dog's got them 3-0. They come back home and host Alabama.
That's a loss.
Ooh, Alabama at home with an extra week to prepare.
Okay.
God, where's your faith in Kirby?
I like it. So 3-1, right? 3-1 the next week, hosting John Dog, Kentucky.
That's a win.
Okay.
4-1.
At Auburn, Jordan-Hare Stadium on October the 11th.
That's a win.
All right.
5-1.
The next week, back at Sanford Stadium in Athens, hosting Ole Miss.
That's a win. They're not getting embarrassed again.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there.
6-1.
Bye week again, John Dog hosting. Oh, I'm sorry. This one is in Jacksonville, as I should have known, against Florida.
That's a win.
Okay. 7-1, Mississippi State.
That's a win.
Yep, on the road. I like that.
8.
Come back home, Diesel. John Dog host Texas.
That's a loss.
Okay. So what is
8-2.
8-2. 8-2, and then
8-2.
you host Charlotte.
That's a win.
Okay. And then at Georgia Tech.
That's a win.
10-2 for the Georgia Bulldogs. That means playoff bound, John Dog.
I hope so.
Appreciate you as always, man.
Thanks, John Dog.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Diesel's going to pull up Clemson's schedule as Joey wants to continue on the win-loss game at 844-326-3663. Joey, are you ready, my friend?
Oh, I'm ready to tick off a lot of Clemson fans.
Oh,
But
buddy.
you truly are a Clemson fan, right?
I truly am a Clemson fan.
All right, I like
Well,
it.
we know that he can't really be a South Carolina fan because he would have thrown up in his mouth if he was calling
true.
in as some sort of a spy.
By the way, he texted the show and said about to call and piss off all the Clemson fans by predicting the absolute floor for Clemson. So let's be clear. This is actually what you think Clemson will go?
Not will, but could. Very, very likely could go.
All right.
All right. Joey, week 1, hosting LSU.
Never played LSU at home. They're coming to prove that this is the real this is the fake Death Valley. They're knocking Cade out. That's a loss.
0-1.
How about game number 2 versus Troy?
That's a win. I don't care who's the quarterback.
1-1.
Game 3 on the road at Georgia Tech.
Loss. Without Cade, it's
Loss.
loss.
So
Ooh.
1-2.
1-2 to start the season.
That's not good. By
Josh
the way.
Pate has Georgia Tech going to the ACC championship game. by the
Joey
way.
has Clemson starting the season 1-2.
How about week 4 against Syracuse?
Win.
2-2.
All right, bye week, and then they go on the road to North Carolina and Bill Belichick.
Win.
3-2.
All right, next week they'll stay on the road and play at Boston College.
Win.
4-2.
Following week, October 18th, they face SMU at home.
That'll be tough, but it's a home. I think Cade, if he does get hurt week 1, will be back. That's a win.
5-2. 5-2 barely.
Okay, bye week, and then Duke again. Duke off a bye for homecoming.
Win.
6-2, says Joey.
Florida State and the fighting Mike Norvells.
the not fighting Mike Norvell. That's a win.
7-2.
The pillow fighting Mike
Yeah.
Norvells. How about on the road at Louisville on a Friday night?
I think that'll be a loss.
Oh, how about that?
So 7-3.
Is that where you got them? 7-3, and then you host Furman Paladins.
That'll be a win.
Okay.
8-3.
And then to wrap up the season on the road at South Carolina.
And time to piss everybody off. That's a loss.
8-4.
8-4 for a team that people think could
Woo!
win a national championship.
And what
Joey.
happens to the conversation and criticism towards Dabo if Clemson goes 8-4 this year?
It'll start warming up, but I think he's still good. In Clemson, I think he's good until he wants to be done.
No, I agree with you.
Thank you, Joey. And you know as well as I do, Joey, those cultists are not going to turn on Dabo for anything.
No, not at all.
Thanks for the call, Joey.
Appreciate it.
8-4.
That
How
is
about
interesting.
that?
I like the fact that, Joey, I'll say this, there are a lot of Clemson fans out there who don't show, unbiased, who don't remove the glasses. I don't think they'll go 8-4, but I will say I appreciate Joey's honesty and, the fact that he's not Mr. Average Clemson fan that's always pumping, sunshine and rainbows. And
I mean, look, injuries can happen at any time, but to call it in the opening week game against LSU, the biggest game of the season for the Clemson Tigers, and then it kind of goes off the rails from there. That's rough.
That would be epically bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be just catastrophic. Can you imagine if I don't even think we can go there, can we?
From epically and stupendously bad to how about amazingly great? Our audio blitz. What's going on out there in the sports world as far as sound? We'll hit that in your ears next on the Fan Upstate. Tolos, you've heard us talk for hours now. How about hearing a little something from, the athletes, the coaches, the stars who are out there living the sports? It's our audio blitz. Let's go right to Cleveland, Ohio, where Joe Flacco obviously has just been named the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, and he was asked how he stays fit and sharp season after fit and sharp.
Okay, I really didn't understand. I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to be funny. Stays fit. Okay.
Stays fit and sharp for a new season.
How do you prepare now? Because I don't know if pickleball is still part of your regimen. Because you look spry on that scramble, I will say that. But just how you prepare now?
Listen, I do a lot of the same stuff I've always done, and like mindset-wise, I think I've done a lot of the same stuff. In terms of preparing my body, I think I've gotten better and better at that each year. You're constantly looking towards things. The pickleball thing comes up because at some point I realized, listen, you can go out there and run and condition and do those things, but it's better when you're playing a game.
Yeah.
Isn't it better to go play basketball and
you're
get yourself in shape and actually play? That's how I was. A couple off seasons ago, I kind of realized, when I was a kid, and you're in great shape, it's because you're just playing all kinds of games and you're working your brain and your body at the same time. So I think that's really important to go back to, because I think you can fall into a trap of getting in the weight room and then you think you've been very productive for the day because you worked out for an hour and a half, but you're really not doing much the rest of the rest of the day.
So I think Joe Flacco has just changed my entire workout and fitness regimen, which obviously you can tell is going great for me. Don't go spend an hour lifting weights and working on chest muscles and bicep workouts. Just go play pickleball. Go play pickup basketball.
Well, I actually think he's right.
He is.
I've done it. You've done it. We've all done it. You can spend an entire day working from home or working from this chair that we're sitting in, go to the gym for an hour and a half, and then you go right back and you're sitting in the same chair, the couch, whatever. That's great, but it's better to do, think about it. He's right. When we were kids, we were playing basketball for an hour and a half. We'd go play this for an hour and a half. We'd be in the woods running around doing this. I mean, the kid active lifestyle that we had, not nowadays because they're on games.
Everybody's afraid to go outside of their house.
Yeah,
now, too.
You can't go outside. They're on video games now. But he's 100% right. Think about it. If you and I played pickleball twice a week in the evenings, plus worked out, and then on the weekends played, pick up basketball. We would be in really good shape, but we're in this mindset of, I would just go to the gym, hour and a half, check it off, we're good to go.
Maybe that's what we need to pitch to Mark Hendricks and Steve Senecroppy. Hey, can we make sure we bring everybody to the office, and at noon on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have an hour of pickleball?
You lost me at bring me to the office.
Oh, okay.
You lost me at that. Bring me to the office.
How about we just gather all the Tolos together? We play a pickleball tournament.
We're good
3 times a week.
I've said multiple times that pickleball is something that's surging right now. I don't play it. I wish maybe we should. Maybe that's what we should do is figure out this pickleball.
Isn't it just like tennis with a wiffle ball?
Maybe.
Basically. Here's Pete Carroll on bringing his culture to Las Vegas with the Raiders as their new head coach.
Through all these years, we have a way that we go about it, and we've got a philosophy and an approach and expectations and standards that we hold the guys to that I think drives them to show like this. I mean, you're seeing a really highly competitive atmosphere in everything we're doing, and competition is the central theme in the program. So it starts right there. And once they have embraced that, there's really no other way to go, because you're either competing or you're not. And so we keep ramping it up and trying to get them used to practicing at a really high level so that the games don't feel like they're faster. The games feel like, oh, I've been here before. I can do this, and they can feel really confident about it.
Did he say anything that no coach, that every other coach doesn't say?
Yeah.
We're highly competitive, and we're making sure we're focused, and that everybody's always competing rep after rep. I mean, come on, Pete. That's things that every coach says.
It is. I'm with you.
Let's go to the phone lines in the middle of this audio blitz segment.
How dare somebody interrupt the audio?
Yeah, let's hear what Tom has to say. Tom in Somerville, I assume, calling us from the back patio at the Ice House.
Oh, I wish I was at the Ice House.
What's up?
But, hey, you bring up a solid point there, Diesel. I wish we'd get somebody who would stand up in the media and ask a coach or tell a coach, stop with all this PC nonsense. Give us an honest answer. Yes, it's August. Nobody knows anything. But at the same time, the Georgia Tech coach stood up there on the podium the other day, and you could tell he was livid. I'm so tired of these coaches saying the same daggum thing every time they talk. It is so annoying. And you hit the nail on the head, Diesel. I had to give you your props there.
I appreciate that. I mean, I wish a guy like Pete Carroll would answer the question. Hey, Pete, why do you think it is you found so much success in your career? Just say, look, I'm better at scheming. I'm more creative. We do a better job at evaluating talent than anybody else. So we have more talent on our teams.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what pushback is somebody going to get for being honest? I know we're in the year 2025 and people like to lie like crazy, but if you're honest, what possible pushback are you going to get for saying, I don't like this, I do like this, let's go out there and beat the crap out of them, just be honest. Nobody's going to believe it when you say the same thing every day.
There's your quote of the day from Tom in Somerville. Just be honest.
Appreciate you, Tom.
Go Gamecock.
There you go. Let's get back to it, Cole, and some audio here from...
That was an audio blitz, by the way.
Yeah, from Danny Cannell, who everybody knows loves to needle all of college football that's not the ACC. But here he is talking about the punishment that Michigan received, which came down last week. It was $20 million, an extra game of suspension for the coach, and really not much else. Here's what Danny Cannell had to say about that.
If you told Michigan fans they had to raise $30 million to guarantee a national championship, they would they'd have that raised within 24 hours.
Yeah.
I think, and you know what? I think most fan bases, if you told them it was take $30 million, you could guarantee a championship, I think they would all sign up for it. I quadruple the previous record high for a fine, which was Tennessee, was $8 million that they had received. I saw that number going around, that it's not even close. Like, it blows anything else out of the water. So I think from your the Sharon Moore for the game next season doesn't make much sense. Like, why not just get it over with? Like, make him. That was weird. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why make him sit one game the start of the 26th season? Doesn't make any sense. All the fines, I guess they do. I think what this does do, though, I do think it taints the national title. And I do think, but I always thought it was going to be a part of the story of the Michigan Wolverine national championship team. But I think it does. And I've always kind of felt like it was tainted. I put an asterisk against it. Michigan fans don't love it. They still won on the field. I get it. When they caught them and they stopped using them, they still won and went through that gauntlet at the end of the season. But I think it's a part of the story. I think it is what it is. And I think the fine is, trying to send a message that they can't have this happen again, I guess.
Come on, Tom from Somerville just called in and say something, Danny. Come on, Danny, say something. You should hit him with a harder penalty than that, and you should make him vacate the national championship because everybody knows that it's tainted.
It's, as he said, watered down, right? Watered down. Look, is he 100% right? I don't know if I'll go that far, but is he 100% wrong? I don't think he's 100% wrong.
I mean, the fine should have been, if you know flat out they did it and you have all the proof that they did it, hit him with more than $20 million.
I just
That's
think
a
ultimately
joke. Hit him with 50.
The point about it being watered down, ultimately, I think there's truth somewhere in the middle. I really do.
Speaking of watering down, Cole, here's SiriusXM host Matt Schick on the college football playoff expansion talks continuing to happen, and he is on board with blowing this thing up and make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
I think that's what it is. I think there are two things. One, it's creating more access, inventory, dollars, and cents. That to me is the main thing. I have said all along that expanding the playoff was never really about access. It was about inventory. And that's the business that we're in. If we're in the TV business, if the live television rights are the most important thing, that you sell, then creating more of those rights and more of that inventory is paramount. And so expanding the playoff is about that, going from 12 teams and doing that to 24, 28 and creating more games at the end of the season is another. The biggest concern that I have is changing this sport to the point where it's unrecognizable. We grew up with a sport that was a certain way. Paying the players hasn't changed the sport much. I mean, you have more of a revolving door in the transfer portal. And oh my goodness, I used to watch my guy for 5 years. Now it's one. We've adapted to that. It's not great. I much prefer kids stay at their school for 4 or 5 years, but you can't restrict it. So you understand it. Then we have the expanded playoff, and now we might have even more.
I haven't adapted to 1 year rent a player. I don't know about you, and maybe guys that talk about it, exhaustively for a living, maybe they are kind of rounding that corner to say, well, it is what it is. You have to get used to it, but I think you can still be old man yells at cloud and shake your fist at it.
I think I've adapted to the 1 year rent a player. I think I have from the aspect of you have to learn your roster every year. You have to know what players are new, like we did earlier in the very first segment of the show with South Carolina, their defensive line, 2 interior defensive linemen from different schools a season ago, right? So, I'm used to that part. But there are other aspects of the sport that I still, to your point, do what'd you say, scream at the cloud? Is that right?
Yeah, shake your fist at the cloud.
Plenty of clowns who do that too today, by the way.
College football used to be about creating opportunities for young men and women in the other sports to grow and to create opportunities for themselves in the future after their college football playing days are done and to learn valuable life skills. That's not what it's about anymore. It's about how can we make our media rights partners the most money we possibly can so that we can make more and more money. Cole, we've talked about Major League Baseball being just 30 teams, and it's odd that it's the only major sport in America that doesn't have 32 teams. Well, Rob Manfred says, we might be interested in doing something about that and increasing the size of Major League Baseball.
How about a window into the future? Expansion, realignment, expanded playoffs. I mean, can you see that down the road?
I can. I think the first two topics are related in my mind. I think if we expand, it provides us with an opportunity to geographically realign. I think we could save a lot of wear and tear on our players in terms of travel. And I think our postseason format would be even more appealing for, entities like ESPN, because you'd be playing up out of the East, out of the West, and that 10 o'clock time slot where we, sometimes get Boston, Anaheim, would be 2 West Coast teams. And that 10 o'clock slot that's a problem for us sometimes becomes a real opportunity for our West Coast audience.
How about that, Cole? Completely realigning Major League Baseball based on geography. I don't know if that means they would move AL and NL teams across lines or whatnot, but you could see Atlanta, Tampa, Miami, and Charlotte. If they wanted to expand towards Charlotte, that could be a division right there.
I don't hate it. I think it would take some getting used to, because you are used to your in division teams with the Marlins, with the Nationals, with the Phillies. I do like that aspect of it. So we'll see. I want to hear from Rob. How can it make the game better? Right? If it's going to make the game better, fine.
Here's Robert McIntyre, who was asked after the BMW where he lost to Scotty Scheffler, what would you do to improve your game?
Look, he's a better player on the day. I'm just really pissed off right now.
What do you see as kind of improvements you feel like you need to make?
Right now, not a clue. Right now, I want to go and smash up my golf clubs, to be honest with you.
What are you going to do?
Smash up my golf clubs.
I'm going to go learn how to hit a 90-foot chip onto the green to win a tournament. That's what I'm going to work on the most.
Tolos, the Wire-to-Wire Fantasy Football League was a hit a season ago. Shane Barrett won the whole freaking thing, and he says he's coming for the crown again. It opens. We create the league next. Buckeye Mike on the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line says there were 2 winners. I apologize, Buckeye Mike. You're right. He won one of the 2 leagues. So Buckeye Mike won. Shane Barrett won. There were 2 leagues, Tolos, and we officially opened this year's leagues right now. However, before I open it, I need to know 2 things. Number 1, I believe we can put it on auto, commissioner auto, whatever you call it, so there's not, people relying on me to get it done or to get things done when it comes to accepting or denying trade requests. Number 2, Tolos, 2 leagues again this year because I messed up last year. I made the league way too big. So we're going to do 2 leagues again. But do we want 10 or 12 or 14 teams per league? So I need to know right now at 844-326-3663 how many teams per league. 8, 10, 12, 14. I'm thinking either 10 or 12. So, Diesel, what I did wrong last year was the first time I did the league, I opened it to like 20 teams. But remember, the Tolos told me that's way too many teams because you have to have, when you have 20 teams in there, you're not going to have near as many players in the roster, right? So you got to kind of keep the number small, which is why we had 2 different leagues. All right, so we've already got 12. All right, so it's 12 leagues. So 12, oh my gosh, text line blowing up. 12 is the number. So wire to wire league 1, I'm going to go wire to wire L1, and that league is now created. And if you want in the league, please text the show at 844-326-3663, and I will send you back a text message with a link to join the league. So we have wire to wire L1, wire to wire L2, League 1, League 2. Shane Barrett and Buckeye. Am I right on that, Diesel? Buckeye Mike. Yes, Shane Barrett and Buckeye Mike are defending champions. Hub City Spartan Burgers text line if you want in. And by the way, the Hub City Spartan Burgers text line is blowing up already. I do like for you, Tolos, to put names, team names in that you'll at least recognize so that we kind of know who is who. If you put Green Goblin, we really don't know who won the league, right? If you put, some random name, we don't know who to give credit to. So name your team what you want, but at the same time, make sure you do it so we want to give you credit.
Yeah, try to put your Tolo name in the name of your team. We should have to be like
the Green Goblin,
Slicky Ricky. Who is that? That was Jeff. why would you call it Slicky Ricky if your name's Jeff? Don't do that.
By the way, I know what I'll be doing the next 2 or 3 breaks. The Hub City Spartan Burgers text line this is a preview of what it will be tomorrow at 4:00 when the Upset Picks Challenge opens. Again, Tolos, text the show. I'll respond back with a link. If we need to make 3, we'll make 3. So be it. But I can tell you 1, 2, 3. I bet 1 league's already full. I bet 1. I see Lefty Tiger. We see Joey, Buckeye, Mike. We see Dan B wanting in, Mac the Knife, another Joey, Dewey. Dewey might win the league this year.
Oh, God.
Diesel, I know you don't play fantasy football, but do you think you could beat Dewey if you did?
I
think you could.
Oh, I would smoke Dewey. I'm not going to do it again this year because I don't care. I don't care about fantasy football. I got things to do with my days, so I don't have time to do it. I would be that guy. So you wouldn't want me playing in this league because I would be that guy that would auto draft, literally not check my roster for the entire season and somehow win.
You said a lot of things just now. I'm sorry, I was answering the phone, but I want to be very clear, Tolo's out there. I just had one Tolo call and ask how to join the league. The text line is the exact same number as the phone line. So 844-326-3663. Please text. Don't do it on the stream on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube because we'll lose track there. The dump button was Shane Barrett's name, which that's fitting. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
How could you forget?
Yeah,
how could you forget, Shane?
Shane.
So make sure you text the show. and get in if you're a fantasy football guy. Did Diesel bag on us for playing fantasy football? Is that what he was doing?
I'm not bagging on anybody who wants to play. I'm just saying that I would be terrible at it because I don't want to stay involved.
You don't want to stay in. You don't like the homework.
Exactly. I mean, I watched the show, The League, and I understand what it does to people. It means that you get crazy obsessed with it. And I don't want to do that. So I'm not interested.
He was the student that said, "Teacher, we don't need homework today. I don't want to think about this anymore."
When we come back, Cole, we played that piece of audio in the last segment from a member of the media, Matt Schick of Sirius XM, talking about college football playoff expansion for money. Well, where does that come from? Where is that idea being populated? It's old Tony Petitti back at it again. His idea for a new and improved gigantic college football playoff. It's next. Oh, it looks like Vancouver's going to the bullpen, eh? Vancouver, Canada already going to the pen after the pitcher with the wonky delivery. I've never seen a small child throw with this delivery, but he's walked the bases loaded. Santa Cruz, Aruba up 2-1 on Canada. By the way, we didn't announce that the Irmo South Carolina boys beat Honolulu, Hawaii in an elimination game. So
that's big time.
Sorry, losers. Have fun going back to a beautiful tropical island.
That is big time.
Yeah.
I do want to say real quick before we dive into this, Diesel, for those Tolos, all the Tolos who texted in, I have not sent all of the links yet because there's 2 different leagues. So if you haven't got a text response from me, I am going to get to you, but I'm filling up 1 league at a time. If we got to go to 3, that's fine. But you will, if you text the show, you will get a link from me. But if you haven't, in 10 minutes from now, I promise I'll get it to you. With that being said, if you have gotten a link from me, don't let it sit. Click on it immediately and join the league. That way we know you're in and the spot's not waiting on someone else. So if you get a link, click it immediately. If you haven't gotten one, I promise I will send you one. The text line has blown up for those that just got off of work and tuned in. The Wire to Wire Fantasy Football League is open. If you want in, text the show at 844-326-3663.
Here's the problem with Canadian baseball, Cole, is they're not used to playing on a field that's small. They're used to playing on a field that's 20% bigger than ours.
What about Canadian bacon?
Canadian, it's just ham. Canadian bacon is just
But it's
ham.
still good, though, right?
It's delicious.
I've never had it.
It's my favorite thing about Canada.
I know. I've never had it and thought, like, this is terrible. It doesn't taste like our bacon, but it's good.
Yeah,
it's still good.
Pam Anderson, Shania Twain, Canadian bacon. My 3 favorite things from the
Not
Great
the
North.
geese, though. Not the
No,
geese.
I hate the geese. I hate them. There's
Not
too
the
many
geese.
of them. They shouldn't be protected like they are.
Oh, they're not knocked December. Trust me.
I don't know if you're aware of this, Cole, but the CFL season is in full swing. And as a matter of fact, most of these teams are 10 games in, and I had no idea.
CFL.
Yeah, CFL.
That's football?
See, it is football. They say it's football at least.
Are geese a part of it? Bacon,
I don't think so.
What does this have to
Mascots?
Oh, no, didn't know it was football.
These are non-serious mascots. Tiger Cats, Alouettes, Red Blacks, Argonauts, Rough Riders, Stampeders, Blue
I don't
Bombers,
know what any of those mean.
Lions, and Elk.
Okay, go slowly this time. Do them again.
Tiger Cats.
Okay, a tiger cat.
That's redundant. You don't have to say tiger cats. You say tigers or cats.
All right, what's the next one?
Alouettes.
I have no idea what an alouette is. Do you?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know what a silhouette is.
Yeah.
What is an
I don't know
alouette?
that.
You don't know that?
I don't know.
All right, next.
The Red Blacks.
Red black?
Red Blacks.
That's 2 colors.
Red Blacks.
What are we? What are we?
I think it's Native American, but I don't know. That's possibly racist.
If it is, we just don't know. We're dumb. We're sorry.
In the East Division, in last place are the Toronto Argonauts.
I've heard of Argonauts. I just don't know what it is. Do you know what it is?
I think it's some sort of a maritime thing. Argonauts.
Okay. Next.
The Rough Riders, the Saskatchewan. It's not Saskatchewan. It's Saskatchewan. Rough Riders.
Okay. By the way, the Argonauts were a band of heroes in Greek mythology, and before the Trojan.
No.
Asking the wrong guy here.
Next up, Cole, the Stampeders. Is that you typing on the old keyboard
No,
again?
that's stampeding, right? Is that what it sounds like when you stampede?
Yep.
By the way, I got a new keyboard.
How about that? Nobody has texted in to complain in the last 2 days.
Will you please get rid of that old loud keyboard?
The Blue Bombers. That's next. That's the I think they're the Winnipeg.
I like that, by the way, a lot.
Are they the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? I'm not sure.
I like blue. I think Blue Bombers, the ones you've named so far, is my favorite.
It's your favorite one. It's, by the way, it is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And then the BC Lions and the Edmonton Elks.
Oh, I like the Elks.
Which that one's bad because elk is already pluralized. You don't have to say elks.
I was about to bring that up. Elks with an S.
Yes.
So the only time you would have an S is if you were talking about the place the Elks were going to. Like the Elks Lodge, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so like if you would put the apostrophe S.
But see, there's no apostrophe. It's just ELKS, Elks.
Yeah, so that does sound wrong. It sounds wrong.
Yeah, everything sounds wrong when a Canadian does it.
Canadian football. I apologize for not knowing.
Seriously, if they wanted a professional league that Americans would watch in the off season, stop playing it on a field that's 120 yards long. Stop letting all the receivers go in motion before the play. Stop doing this 3-down thing. Just play real football. Otherwise, it seems like fake football.
What are they even doing right? Is that Eduardo Perez on the left? I think it is.
Yeah. This is baseball. We're watching baseball on TV.
Yeah, I know, but it's the same thing. You're talking about Canada.
Speaking of trying to figure out what the heck it is they're thinking, what the heck it is they're doing, Tony Petitti floated the idea of a 14 or a 16 team college football playoff a couple of months ago that would have 4 automatic bids for the Big Ten and the SEC. And when Greg Sankey said, yeah, nah, man, we're not interested in the whole auto bid thing. What did Tony Petitti do? Did he go back to his office? Did he maybe take some Adderall to calm himself down and stop having these wild and crazy thoughts? No, he didn't do that. He went back to the old drawing board and he came up with a system that's even dumber. Tony, what are you doing? Tony Petitti has floated a college football playoff format, Cole, that features 24 or 28 teams starting as early as next year. Could you imagine? Yeah, it's basically basketball.
What it is? I mean, come on.
His proposal would feature, among other things, Cole, 7 automatic bids for the Big Ten and the SEC, which the SEC sitting at 16 teams. That's basically half of the conference. Hey, South Carolina fans, you should be all for this because that's how you're going to get in the playoff.
Jeez, Diesel,
I'm being realistic here, okay? I'm not throwing shade, but if you're on the outside looking in, the way to get in is to widen the picture a little bit, right?
He's just firing all kind of shots at South Carolina.
So, yeah, that would see half of the SEC getting into the playoff. Nobody wants to see that because we bitch and moan about it every year in the NCAA basketball tournament when we say, I can't believe that half of the SEC got in or half of the ACC got in. It's not worthwhile to have teams that don't have a real shot to win this thing or go win a game getting into the playoff.
But you've forgotten one thing. You see, you're missing something. Allowing more teams in changes who the better team is at the end of the day, right? Because that's what we do in basketball. And when we allow more teams in, we always change who the better team is, and we also alter and dictate whether or not the better team wins, right? Isn't that what we – no, it's not what we do. So why are we doing it? It doesn't work in basketball. It doesn't work in baseball. It doesn't work in the NBA. The NBA, the best team wins, 7-game series. Baseball, best team wins, 5 or 7-game series. In the NFL, the best team, 9 out of 10 times wins the game. In college basketball, you have 60-something teams in the tournament, and the best team still finds a way to win the game. My point being, allowing more teams in is all it is the money.
Well, yeah,
that's all it is.
It's all about money, and this guy is money hungry. He is Scrooge McDuck diving into a giant pile of gold. That's literally all he can see. He wants that to be his biography, not just his desire. He wants it to literally be what he can do when he goes home at the end of the day. He wants to climb into a solid gold toilet. He wants to wrap himself in Egyptian cotton, the finest of clothes and the finest of things. It's ridiculous. So that's not just all of it, Cole. I mean, a 24 or a 28 team college football playoff is not all of it. He wants to get rid of conference championship games too.
Yeah.
He wants to get rid of those. Now, I have advocated for getting rid of those if you want to expand to 14, but 28, give me a break.
What is, real quick, 28 teams in the college football playoff? What is the purpose of even having a regular season?
Right.
Like, what are we doing? I mean, just let's play 5 games. I mean, what 28 teams absolutely kills the regular season. There's no doubt about that.
In a 16-team playoff, you have to win 4 games. So you're adding on another third of the season.
Why is this guy even relevant?
Games.
Why are we allowing this guy to even be
because
around?
he keeps saying cockamamie BS stuff. And people, of course, report on it because we're so thirsty for anything this time of year.
Tony Petitti needs to – I mean, they need to get this guy off the planet. I mean, I don't like it.
So 7 each for the Big Ten and the SEC, 5 automatic bids for the ACC and the Big 12. Could you imagine how awful it would be to have to go 5 deep in the ACC depth chart to put teams in the playoffs? You're talking about that point putting in like NC State in some years. Nobody wants to see that.
What are we doing? What are we doing, Tony? But Louisville making a college football playoff. And you know what it all boils down to? Rob Brown has a promo about it as well. What Tony Petitti and these other guys that are having these conversations, the absolute Diesel, the saddest part about this conversation that just right in the chest, they don't care about the quality of the game. They don't care about the season. They don't care about diluting the regular season, watering it down. They don't care about any of this. They don't care about what the fan thinks. And what can we do, Diesel? What are we going to do? I mean,
you're not going to stop watching.
So, I mean, no, but I think eventually you might see a trickle down effect if you do something like this. I think a small percentage of college football fans have already stopped watching. A small percentage. Now, you're going to say ratings. I think this has turned a lot of people off already. I just don't know that. I get that it's money and we're all money hungry, but I'm just so against it.
I mean, you're right. They don't ask people like us who actually consume the product. They just deliver more of said product and hope that we're going to keep gorging on it, right?
Right.
It's like going to a restaurant where they have okay food, but they give you so much food that you can't eat all of it in one plate. They give you enough that you have to take home 2 and 3 meals after the fact. 2 at-large teams selected by the College Football Playoff Committee, 2 automatic bids for the group of 5, campus-hosted games. I'm at least in on that point. That might be the only point of all of this that I'm in for. First round game, the first 2 rounds of the playoff would be hosted on campus sites. Having come from a school that was FCS at the time, home playoff games are amazing. They really are. They're so much fun.
Last year, that was the absolute best part. That was the absolute best part of the college football playoff was having the home games. I love it.
Unfortunately, Cole, there's nobody who can stop this. Tony Petitti will eventually start turning people's minds, especially as you've got people who are working their way up, and it's still pretty new. So it hasn't happened yet, and it won't happen for another 3 to 5 years. But people who came up in the college football playoff era and will say, oh, expansion to 4 was great. Expansion to 12 was great. And that's all they'll know is a college football playoff with a bunch of teams who don't deserve to get in. I'm under no delusion, Cole, that a group of 5 champion will probably ever get much farther than winning 1 game in the college football playoff. To me, that's not what it's about. It's about being able to be in there and have access and play in that tournament. That's good enough for me. I don't believe that Boise State or Georgia Southern or Sam Houston State or whoever it may be gets into this thing, goes on a run, knocks off Oregon, Alabama, and Texas for a national championship. I don't believe that's ever going to happen, but I do think they should have access to the tournament overall. Again, they don't ask us. They don't send out surveys and say, hey, fans, what do you think? Do you want this? Should we increase? Should we decrease? They would send out a survey and say, hey, we want to see what you think about increasing. Should we increase it by 50% or increase it by 100% and not give the option to click, no, don't expand this thing at all?
My only question that I ask about what you just said is, no, they're not surveying college football fans before they move forward or proceed. No, they're not. However, what's the end game for them? I would like to know from Tony Petitti and those having this conversation, what is their end game? What is your end game? Is your end game to make as much as you can make, cash out, be gone, dead, and not worry about it? Or is your end game to better the sport 100 years from now? Because guess what? They might, Diesel, regret the decision 150, 175, 60 years from now, but they'll be dead and gone. They won't care. They'll be rich, and their kids will be rich, and their kids' kids will be rich. It's like the mafia. Think about it. I mean, they want to get what they can get, pile it up, pile it up, pile it up. They don't care what happens 100 years from now. They want theirs, and they want to cash out, and what happens, happens.
Well, their end game is 16. Their end game is 16. Let's throw out 24 and 28 and have everybody say, oh, my God, that's ridiculous. Well, okay, if you think that's crazy, why don't we just increase to 16 instead? Yeah. That's still expanding the playoff. That's still something that most rational fans will say we don't want. We don't want an expansion to 16 teams. I mean, if it's up to me, I'd say shrink this thing back to 8, but they're throwing out the crazy high number to try to push a negotiation. But I still have a big problem with automatic tie-ins, with automatic berths. You telling me that every single year in perpetuity, there's going to be 7 Big Ten teams worth going to a playoff. You're trying to sell me that every year there's 5 ACC teams worth going to the college football playoff. It's not true. No. It's not true, and everybody knows it. Let the thing play out the way that it's supposed to naturally. If that means 12 out of the 16 teams are SEC, by God, go for it. If you don't want that to be the case, be better and get more teams in.
Quick update for you. Good news on this Tuesday, this Tolo Tuesday. Final score, Hub City, the Spartanburgers in Spartanburg today, even though delayed a little bit, defeats Greenville 6-1. So, look, we had a rough stretch up north, Diesel. We went up north and got beaten and bruised and bumped around and tossed around a little bit. But we come back home, and guess what? Taking care of little brother up at 85 in Greenville. Hub City defeats Greenville today 6-1. So the Spartanburgers start the series off, the last series, by the way, against the Drive this season. They started off on a good note. They have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday remaining. 5 games remaining between the Drive and the Spartanburgers. So if you want to get out and see a game this weekend, you have plenty of opportunities to do so in Spartanburg as the Drive are in town. Want to remind Tolos, we did open about 25 minutes ago one fantasy league. I have not opened the second one yet. I'm going to hit refresh, and I've got one. I hit refresh. I've got one spot left. So I am going to send one more link for the first league, and then I will create the second league. So Tolos, if you're still listening from earlier when we were talking fantasy football, if you have not gotten a text yet, please retext us at 844-FAN-PHONE, and I will start sending out new links right now. But the first 12-team league, there's already 11 Tolos. Like I said, there's room for one more. If you get a text and don't accept it, and then you click it later and you find out the league's full, well, that's your fault. When you get the text, you better click it immediately and join so you're in, because there's a lot of Tolos asking for these. So if you want in on the fantasy league, text the show 844-326-3663, and I'll hit you back with a link on how you can get in. Diesel, earlier in the show, you and I had a fantastic conversation with Jack Veltri, Gamecock Central. We talked Gamecocks, spring practice, fall camp, what Shane Beamer said today, chocolate chip cookies, and even poo. I don't know how that was brought up or how that conversation even started at South Carolina, but a fascinating, fun interview. Jack Veltri joins us every Tuesday during football season. In case you missed it, that interview next.